All sports, all plays. All sports, all plays. All sports, all plays. 365, we're making up plays. You talking the game, get you through the days. We're high in the court, the dime in the lane. Variety topics, living the same. All presentation, sports information. In the airways, taking the nation. All sport, all plays, like working your faces. Grace at the field, so tie the laces. All sports, all plays.
Good Saturday morning. It's bright early college football Saturday morning. My name is Ray Cruz. Dre cannot be with us. He had prior engagements here for the next couple of weeks, so you'll be seeing me. And Landon was supposed to come on, but he has some family issues to take care of, so he'll be on with me next week. So we're going to get started right here on tonight's Saturday morning telecast. Here, we are live on our Facebook page, YouTube page. You can see it all streaming down the bottom, the Fox D network, the ASAP network, television network now. If you got a Roku, you can go ahead and search for the All Sports, All Place network, and you can find us right on your Roku. Then you can see us live streaming there also. So we're going to get started here today with some information here. College football starting heavy one is 9 a.m. We're going to take you all the way up to 12 a.m. kickoff time here on the All Sports, All Plays Premier College Breakdown Premier pregame show, all on social media, all on the TV platform. We're getting up and getting going. We're getting started. So let's keep it going rolling here tonight. So you see our platforms down there. We're going to go ahead and we're going to show you the Tuesday night's games and the Thursday night's game. They'll be strolling down all the way down to Thursday night. Just let you know this is a pre-tape show today. I am off and going up to see my nephew play some baseball. He's playing travel league for the next 3 weeks, so we're taping it here tonight on this as a tape show. So I just want to let you know that's why you don't see the Friday night scores. You see all the way up through Thursday night. So we pre-taped this show, just let you know. But we're going to take you all the way up to college football time here, and we're going to do all the breakdowns for you. So if you don't see anybody comments coming up, I cannot put your comments up because this is a pre-tape show. I just want to get that out of the way. Disclaimer. But you know, we're bringing the kickoff breakdown show to Carolina. The college breakdown show is going to be breaking it all down for you. You're not going to miss anything. So we're going to take it off. This is a 3-hour show. Always starting at 9 a.m. on Saturday morning, going all the way up to kickoff. Even though this is a tape show today, it will take you all the way up to kickoff time, and it will give you the information. We will not have the Dre and Crew Ray's Pick'em stats come up. Since last week, he had to go ahead and leave the show early due to some other commitments. So we didn't get to complete the whole process of going through the games. So we're going to go ahead, and I'm going to break it all down to you here today. Hear a lot, on the college breakdown show like we normally do. We'll go through the list and I will give you my pick'ems. As I'm picking them, I will keep my solo stats up. So next week we will have my solo stats will be coming up on here to see how good I do by myself. All the way up through the time, through the playoffs and the stuff like that get started. Excuse me. So let's talk about here. We're going to go ahead and get some commercial. Let's take some commercial breaks right now. Here, get some nice sponsors.
All sports, all plays. All sports, all plays. All sports, all plays. 365, we're making up plays. You talking the game, get you through the days. We're high in the court, the dime in the lane. Variety topics, living the same. All presentation, sports information. In the airways, taking the nation. All sport, all plays, like working your faces. Grace at the field, so tie the laces. All sports, all plays. All sports, all plays. We on top of our game. All sports, all plays. All sports, all plays.
Well, that's one good thing here. I want to do one more here. Here's some more from our latest commercial here on the All Sports All Place Network.
What did you say?
I said Kobe Bean Bryant has been overrated ever since he passed away. Now, I'd say they could lose about 4, but I don't see them losing 5. You know what I mean?
Whole sports, all plays. Whole sports, all plays. Whole sports, all plays.
Welcome back to the All Sports, All Plays Network, the college breakdown show that comes every morning, Saturday morning from 9 a.m. to noon. We're taking you all the way up to kickoff, and this is not a duplicating of a show that is all you see on regular TV. You come here, you get the actual sports, you get the actual breakdown of all games and our latest pick 'em here. We're gonna go ahead and kick this right off here on the latest sports show here and the latest kickoff here. Let's get back to that thing. There we go. You see the radio pop up. We had to go to another studio to play the commercials here. Soon I get them uploaded into my studio, we will have them all here. So let's get ready for this thing here. You see the Tuesday night, and you see all the scores coming up. I want to bring up the banner here. This is the college playoffs. This is the college playoffs poll. It started with number 1, Georgia, number 2, Alabama, number 3, Oregon, number 4, Ohio State, number 5, Cincinnati, number 6, Michigan, number 7, Michigan State, number 8, Oklahoma, number 9, Notre Dame, and number 10, Oklahoma State. And you can see the 11th through rest of them. We see some changes here. Wake Forest lost to North Carolina last week. So they dropped all the way down to number 12 in the college football thing. NC State rose all the way up to number 16 from the latest poll here. From this, and as it gets to the top 25, I'm going to go ahead and I'll put the AP top 25, and you can see a little bit of the difference between the college playoff rankings and the AP top 25 here. So I'm going to go ahead and bring up the AP top 25. You have Georgia number 1, number 2, Cincinnati, number 3, Alabama, number 4, Oklahoma, number 5, Oregon, number 6, Ohio State, number 7, Notre Dame, number 8, Michigan State, number 9, Michigan, and number 10, Oklahoma State. And then you see 11 through the rest. So as we continue on here, through the show here, we're gonna start breaking down some of the shows, some of the games here. I want to give you some quick breakdowns here of what we have coming on here. Where we see here, we have a total of 19 games that actually going to go deep into the breakdown. We have a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We have a total of 30 or 49 games total that we're going to actually pick here. And as we get to the ones, we'll break them down, and I'll break it down a little bit closer. We're going to go ahead and start off with our breakdown here for the Saturday schedule. Saturday schedule. First game we're going to go with Michigan. We're going to go with number 6 Michigan versus at Penn State University at Happy Valley. This game will be played at 12 o'clock Eastern time. At Beaver Stadium, University Park, Pennsylvania. The game can be seen on ABC, which was here on the All Sports, All Plays Network. But we haven't gotten into that bit of a war here. What do we see from Michigan here? Michigan went up to Michigan State and got beat. Then, they lost to Michigan State. They were, if you look at this as the money always the perfect just selling, but the offense kept on rolling. The loss to Michigan State, where the 522 yards total offense part of the reason for the jump over the Spartans in the latest college football playoff rankings. And last week, everything was kept relatively conservative against a bad Indiana team. The running game led to the Big Ten, even if it's not as hot as it was to start the season. Behind the offensive line, that's playing as well as in the conference. Penn State's offense might be okay throwing the ball, but there's nothing happening on the ground, and it hasn't hit 100 yards in any of the last 3 ball games. And that's going to be a key for Penn State. Penn State's going to have to run the ball against Michigan. They have to be a balanced offense. And if they're not a balanced offense, then they're not going to be able to take control of this ball game and try to give Michigan a fight. They have to run the ball over 100 yards rushing today to get them a chance against Michigan. You see what Michigan State did to Michigan on the ground with Walker, the running back from Michigan State. So can they produce that same production here back running back committees from Penn State? They have to produce that. And you see what happens when they got the running game going for Michigan State. The game was all about Michigan, and then all of a sudden Walker took off. Once Walker took off, the running game took off, it really changed the complexity of that Michigan game against Michigan State and tilt Michigan on to win that ball game against that. So now that's going to be a key for Michigan. Can Michigan's defense hold Penn State to 100 yards rushing? We had, like they have said, Penn State running game has not been a tale of a tale here. They have to get that running game going if Penn State wants to win these ball games here. If you look at it here, John Clifford has found his groove. He's banged up. He was banged up against Iowa. The Penn State quarterback didn't do much over a 3-game stretch, but he bounced back to a ball out against Ohio State and followed up with 361 yards. Day with 363 yards passing and 3 touchdowns against Maryland. Stickly, Michigan's passing defense has been fine, but it hasn't allowed a touchdown pass in 3 games. And that's going to be a key for Penn State, because Penn State have to get a running game going. Because if you see what they are attacking right now, if you see what they're saying here, they're saying that that Penn State, they want Penn State to run the ball, and if they can stop the Penn State pass, and that's going to take a little toll and a little bit of control and tail on this team. So we have to see what they're going to do here with that attack. If they can get the passing game and the running game going, then you're going to see some good attacks here. You're going to see a good ball game from Penn State can keep themselves in this game if they can get the running game. That's going to be the key here. The key has to be the Penn State running game, because Michigan's domination of defense on the passing game has not allowed a touchdown in the last 3 games. If you cannot get something that made that defense commit to that, and it's going to be a long day for Clifford, and all they have to do, if they can't get the running game going, guess what? They're going to pin their ears back and come after Clifford, and that's going to be a strong. That's one of the weaknesses for Penn State, because the passing, the pass rush, they can't keep the pass rush going. So that's going to have to be something that Michigan has to rely on in this ballgame. They have to get Penn State with no running game, and they have to attack Penn State. They have to attack Penn State, attack them, and don't allow the game gas. And Clifford has to be the man. He has to control the ball. He has to make good decisions. He cannot force balls in tight windows, because if Michigan picks off, that's going to give you a long field day. That's going to give you a long field day here. So, that's going to have to be what we need to see here. First, Penn State's defense is going to have to turn Michigan over. Get some short field. They have to get some short fields. They get some short fields. Then we're going to see them, understand their capabilities of what they can do on defense, and that they have to force Michigan's turnovers. That's going to be one key. If Penn State can win the turnover battles against Michigan, get Michigan some short fields, that's going to drive Jim Harbaugh, what my friend Dre said, khaki pants, nuts in this ball game. So they have to get the running game. The keys of these games are important here down the stretch for Penn State to get them a good ball game. So if they want to win, if they can win out here, if they can beat Michigan State and try to win out of them, they could get a good barometer of what they're capable of, and going into a good bowl game at the end of the season. But if they can't get this stuff real directed right now, and they can't get the rushing game going, then you're going to see some Michigan dominating this game, and Happy Valley won't be happy either for Penn State. So that's going to be a key here. I'm going to give the nod here to playing in Happy Valley. Michigan State's playing great football. Penn State don't get it. I'm going to have to go with this game here. I'm going to have to get I'm going to go with Penn State. I'm going to go with Michigan on this game for the win over Penn State. I have Michigan winning this ball game over Penn State. So we're talking about at noon, New Mexico State at number 2 Alabama. This is a little bit of a given, because the Lobos here are not doing New Mexico State's not really doing anything great this season. They're playing the number 2 team in the college poll rankings, not the AP top 25, but the college poll rankings. And if they can't get that stuff going here, so that's going to be some eye opening here. Can Alabama win blowing out? If Alabama lets New Mexico State stay with them, then they could drop it in the college poll. So I think Alabama's going to blow them out here. So I'm going to go with Alabama here on the blowout. All right. Are you going to go moving right along here in this talk here? All Our next one, it will be number 8, Oklahoma, going up against number 13, Baylor. This is number 8 versus number 13 in the college playoffs rankings. This game is at noon on Fox. This game is in McLean Stadium in Waco, Texas. So we're going to go into the Waco, the asylum here in Waco. So now we're going to see. This is going to be an interesting contest here. It's going to be a very interesting barometer way of here. Is the rested Oklahoma ready to finishing the kick? No. The schedule has not been all amazing so far, but it hasn't been totally awful. Even so, the team is still in the hunt for this thing. Right now, Oklahoma comes in at number 8, so they're still in the hunt. They got to win out. They got to go out and blow some teams away, blow them out, make them impressive wins. And the quarterback situation there. Williams has come in and has took over this ball game and teaming for his staff. But with Oklahoma don't have a good defense. It hasn't been strong enough overall, but it takes the ball away and it's good for bucking down in the red zone. So they like to give up yards between the 20 and the other 20, but getting that red zone for Oklahoma, the defense kind of stiffens up for them. Without the impression of the defense, there's going to be a scoreboard washing here. They're playing Baylor. OU was awful against Kansas for that half. Lost miserable performance where 35 points scored in the second half, and also lost is how Oklahoma won their last 3 games by double digit and have now scored 52 or more in the 3 of the last 4 games. Like I said, there's no defense. Kansas kept this game all the way with Oklahoma all the way up into this game. How will Baylor win this game? The running game has to be rolling for Baylor at the start. If Baylor can get that running game going and get Oklahoma's defense on their heels a little bit here, I think the play action, the RPOs, stuff they can run against Oklahoma can do it. I think Baylor's played Oklahoma strong in the last few years. Baylor is getting a monster season out of the running back combination of Abram and Smith and Tester Ebern. And with Smith on fire with the last 3 straight games of 125 yards or more while averaging over 7 yards per carry. The Bears, that's going to be a thing there for the Bears and stuff like that. So I think that we're going to see here a little bit of combinations here and stuff like that. Abram and Bears are getting their running game going against the pressure against the Saints. It should have a consistency and a pop to pounce when Oklahoma takes its weekly nap for about 12 to 20 minutes. So that's what you got to catch with Oklahoma. Oklahoma likes to sleep, in like 12, 20 minutes of a ball game. They don't play a full 60-minute game. So if you can catch that stretch and get that thing out, then you're going to see some, hard press times and stuff like that. So that's what we're going to have to look for here in this situation with Baylor, Baylor needs to do to produce Oklahoma. Oklahoma needs to produce a 60-minute game. And that's what it's going to take for Oklahoma. Oklahoma has to build a 60-minute game, ladies and gentlemen. I'm talking about a 60-minute game, not a 12 to 20-minute times they take off during games. Baylor is, if you turn it across your eyes, Baylor could be taking off with this game, and you're going to be in a hard press situation here. So we're going to have to see that, something you're going to have to see in this situation if Oklahoma can play a full 60-minute game. And they haven't done that this year. They, like I said, they have taken 12 to 20 minutes off a time. So that's going to be a situation here that we're going to see in these situations. So let me. I'm sorry about that. I had to take some of these. I'm trying to get all this mutant stuff with my my control center messenger here. So I'm sorry about that. Let me see here if I can find which one is mute. I got to mute these things here. Let me mute that. Yeah, mute that one. Fade hours. I want to mute that one. People like to talk on our back end chats and stuff while the show's going on, and I can't mute the sound for it to come in. So That's why I'm trying to stop that right now here. I'm sorry about taking that for that delay here in this Saturday morning. Thing here, people just they like to talk, and I'm trying not to get them muting here for 8 hours and stuff. So so let me see here. I think I'm good here. Hopefully nothing else will come over. If something else comes over, we'll mute it and stuff like that. So we're gonna continue on here. So we're talking about the Baylor here and how they expect to win the game. They're gonna have to win the game by concentrate with their double with their men and stuff. You have to know what this works with for Oklahoma. It looks rough for a stretch. The defense gives up a scoring drive, and it looks like it's all going to fall apart. And then Clay Williams is going to go and does what he does. It's something Heisman worth. So is he a Heisman because he just came in at the mid season, the mid season? I guess he came in with Texas. So is he really a Heisman candidate because he played a half of the season? So I mean, I don't understand. I guess so because the season not his fault that he didn't start over Rattler. Rattler, when he got the Texas game, Rattler was doing okay. When they got to the Texas game, Rattler didn't do anything. He benched him, and Williams brought him back. So I mean, that's something we got to say by Clay Williams. Clay Williams, he played the team ball game, and then when he got his number called, he produced it, and that's what I'm talking about by Clay. Williams is because he does some amazing stuff for Oklahoma and he makes that team thing. The offense is not a problem with Oklahoma. It's that defense, and that defense likes to take 12 to 20 minutes plays off. And so can Lincoln Riley get them to play a full 60-minute game? That's gonna have to be the point right here. That's got to be the point of emphasis in this ball game. Because if you don't play a 6-minute game against Baylor, you're gonna be in some hot water and you're gonna be in some deep trouble. This game is in Waco. Some people are saying Oklahoma is going to win 37-30. The line score here is Oklahoma is favored by 5.5. Over and under 62.5 game. So in this ball game, I'm gonna go with. I think Baylor could pull the upset. I'm gonna go with Baylor on this one, pulling the upset here at home over the number 8 Oklahoma team. And now it's going to shut Oklahoma out of the college playoffs. So let's go right ahead. Let's move right along here. We're doing pretty good. We got a good pace going here. So the next game we're going to talk about here is the Auburn versus Mississippi State. This game is at 12 o'clock. Auburn is number 17th ranked in the country. They're going to be playing at Jordan Hare Stadium in Auburn, Alabama. The game is on ESPN. Auburn comes in at 6-3. Mississippi State comes in at 5-4. A good question for this ball game is going to be a very interesting one. The passing game. Can the passing game continue to get stronger and stronger? The Bulldogs might have a loss to Arkansas last week, but quarterback Will Rogers is starting to push the ball a little deeper down the field. And I think that's going to be good. I think that's going to be a good almond there. So, yes, I think it's going to be Rogers is hitting over 75% of his throws in the last 3 or more touchdowns in 6 games. So that's got to be a key for Mississippi State. Mississippi State has to establish that passing game, get deeper balls down the field if they're going to have a chance to beat Auburn. That's got to be the key for Mississippi State is if they can get the passes down. I'm talking about deep passes. I ain't talking about no 15, 16 yards to pass. I'm talking about 35, 45, maybe 55 yards down the field. If they can hit some of them big plays, that's going to keep Auburn a little bit on the mix here. The Tigers having been gouged by Matt Kroll, Ole Miss, LSU, Max Johnson, Penn State, Sean Clifford were each able to crank up to over 300 yards. And Suman Rogers steps off the bus with 350 yards passing, controls the game from the start. That's got to be the key. The Bulldogs got to be fantastic in directing the tempo and rely on the defense that's been great at getting into the backfield. However, You have to be control. And Mississippi and Auburn. What Auburn? You talking about Auburn here at the point of an attack here of on Auburn? Mississippi defense has not been that bad. Mississippi defense has not been that bad. Um, Mississippi's defense has just got ran over. It got ran over by Arkansas. Okay, a season high of 202 yards rushing. Auburn's ground attack didn't work a lick against Texas A&M, but it has to at least give it a short early on. They have to give it a shot short early on. They have to give a shot. Auburn has to run the football effectively. You know, Nick's got to be Nick's. You know, he's got to pass the ball down the field. He's got to complement it. But if they can get that running game going early, Mississippi State can't put that pressure on them because they have to account for the run. The Tigers aren't going to tear you off a big day on the ground, but they committed to it. They should be able to get at least about 160 yards. If they can get at least 160 yards or more, then you might see some you might see some things. So that's got to be the problem. That's got to be the texture, the how can I put this? Auburn has to run the football. I can't be no more paramount about this. Auburn has to get at least between 160 yards to 200 yards rushing, and they keep Mississippi State off balance defensively. Because Mississippi State, you know, they have played some good games here, and they have battled out some good games. The defense is a little bit of a top notch. I mean, they got gouged by Alabama. So, I mean, this is something that you got to think about here about Auburn. Can Auburn do a balanced offense? I have a balanced attack. And so if then nobody, if Nix is back there passing, they're going to get eaten alive, and they're going to get, you know, sacked after sack after sack. He's going to be running for his life. And that's got to be the key of this football game. Here is Auburn has to run the football effectively. They have to get over 160 yards rushing to 200 yards rushing in this ball game to make their offense a balanced attack and keep Nix upright and gives them a little bit more to hit these downfield strides because you can suck them up in these play action passes if Alabama can get it, if Auburn can get them, if Auburn can get that action going. And if they get that action going, then you're gonna see some domination here coming alive in this contest here. So I mean, if you look at it that way, what can we see in this ball game? Mississippi State played well in the loss against Arkansas. If it can win, this is a bowl eligible game. A bowl eligible against Tennessee State next to tune up even more. And then it's the Egg Bowl time against Ole Miss with a chance to close out with a strong kick. Auburn has got stuffed by a great Texas A&M defense last week. And while it's already bowl eligible, the date at South Carolina next week isn't such a sure thing. And finally, against Alabama is obviously not a 2 foot punt. So it will be a tight game late. Can Auburn defense rise to attack to beat this Mississippi State and Mike Lynch's type offense? And Rogers getting everything going effectively, then Mississippi State is going to be a problem if they can get a running attack going. So that's going to be some keys here in this contest. Some people got Auburn winning 24-21. Auburn is favored by 5.5, and it's a 50 over and under is 50. I'm going to take the home team on this. I'm going to take Auburn. I think Auburn can do this, win this one here. So I'm taking Auburn over this. My next game that we're going to talk about here on the telecast will be the Wisconsin versus Northwestern. Saturday, November 13th at 12 Eastern time. The venue will be at Camp Randall Stadium in Madison, Wisconsin. ESPN2 will be carrying this game. Wisconsin comes in 6-3. Northwestern comes in 3-6. Northwestern has the 2019 team lost, but it came up with 2 takeaways in the 2018 version of this game. They won the turnover battle, and the 2017 team lost, but away 3 times. And after not getting any 2016, 2015, Cats forced 5 turnovers in a 13-7 win. 2014 Northwestern team took the ball away from Wisconsin 4 times in 2013. I'm telling you, if you're looking here, the key here has to be, can they still continue to turn the ball up? Can they continue Wisconsin turnover? You know what Penn State did to them in the first game of the football season, but Wisconsin has played a little bit better here off and on during the season. Pat Fitzgerald's team is not having the success they had last year without the empty stadiums. Now the stadium is full, and they've been having problems. Trying to get this effectively and stuff like that. So that's got to be a concern. That has to be a concern for you. That has to be a concern for Northwestern of this play of this year's team. Last year's team was kind of brilliant. This team is not following up what happened last year. Pat Fitzgerald is not having a good season with Wisconsin this season. Wisconsin, Georgia D is hysterical awesome, but isn't giving up 230 yards per game. Oklahoma State has 3rd best defense in the college football and is allowing 277 yards per game. Wisconsin's 214 yards per game. 2011 Alabama ended up allowing 184 yards per game in a modern era of all-time great seasons. No one else since then has finished a season allowing fewer than 250. No one is running against the Badgers, including Army. Wisconsin allowed only a season most 179 yards against a run-and-only attack. So that's going to be a key there for Northwestern. They have to get the running game going against this tough defense. The Badgers defense are number 1 in the nation in total defense, run defense, 3rd down defense, and 3rd and 4th in scoring defense, which is really fair because the meltdown in a 41-13 loss Notre Dame was on the defense special team and the 5th in passing defense. Northwestern can't consistently move the ball until it's too late. That's got to be the key for Northwestern. They have to get off early. They have to continue to move the ball effectively. Northwestern, is worst of all against the run defense, and that's what Wisconsin's going to light them up in. Wisconsin's going to light them up. It's going to light them up in that capacity. In that capacity. So I mean, that's what we got to figure here on this. The turnover game, Northwestern has to win the turnover battle in this game. They had to be in the plus side in this ball game. So that's going to be a good barometer there for Wisconsin. I think once Wisconsin's linebacker is out for the season, that's going to be a big hurdle on that defense because I think he was the team leader on that defense of the linebacker corps who calls the defense. So that's going to be a very thing. But some people say it's not going to be close. Wisconsin 34, Northwestern 10. That's what some people are saying. Wisconsin comes in a 25-point favorite. Over and under is 41. Give me Wisconsin on this one. I'm going to take Wisconsin at home. I don't think Northwestern has a chance here in this ball game. So, Sanford at Florida. Florida's been hurting lately. Florida's, that Georgia game has really set Florida apart here because they had a letdown in South Carolina last week. They got blown out in South Carolina last week. And what is the problem with Florida? I know they let the offensive line coach go because the offensive line is not doing too much as keeping upright on the quarterbacks. Understand that part. I understand the defense coordinator. Grantham is gone because Grantham's defense is not like he used to be back in the day when he came out of the NFL. He came up and played, at Georgia and stuff like that. His defense has not been aggressive, and you could tell. and Florida let him go. That was a good let go there. So we're going to see what kind of Florida defense is going to be like under the interim coach, and what Mullen's going to have to get that offense generated here. And we don't know the status of Richardson, if he's out for the year or not. That's got to be a key there too. That's got to be a key. Also, that's got to be also another key for this contrast in this thing for Florida. So we don't know exactly what's going on at Florida right now. Is Dan Mullen gone at the end of the year, or would these moves suffice and let him go out and get another defense coordinator? People might laugh and stuff when I say this, but I'm gonna tell you, Florida needs to go back and look at Muschamp at defense, not as a head coach, as defense. He's a great defensive coordinator, not a great head coach, but a great defensive coordinator. He knows how to recruit. He can recruit. You can bring some talent in there, because if you look, the last person I've seen, one of their 4-star wide receivers was supposed to go to Florida. Georgia flipped him. Now he's going to Georgia, and then Florida lost out on a 4-star wide receiver. Core right there I think it's 2023 or 2022. So that's another different thing here too. Will Muschamp can recruit players, and he's a great defensive coordinator. So I wouldn't mind bringing him back as a defensive coordinator, because he's not really got to be responsibility of the whole team just for that defense. So that's something you got to look at on the offseason for Florida. That's something that you might want to look at. So that's got to be another good barometer there for Florida. I'm gonna take Florida at home over Stanford. That's at 12 o'clock in Gainesville. So we got a little bit much more here to come. We're going to take a break here. We're going to let one of our sponsors here, the Fox D Network, we're going to run. We're going to go ahead and run a commercial for them, and we'll be right back. This is the All Sports, All Place Network, College Breakdown. Be back momentarily.
This is the Fox D Streaming Network. Register to come on our channel at foxdnetwork.com.
Welcome back to the All Sports, All Place Network. This is Ray Cruz on the College Breakdown. My main co-host, Dre, he's on he has some other assignments he had to take care of. He'll be back. Hopefully he'll be back in like 2 or 3 weeks here when we break down all the college bowls and stuff like that. Hopefully he'll probably be back by then. I had Landon lined up here. He was going to be our guest co-host for this program today. He had some family issues to come up late yesterday, so I need to, we need to keep prayers out for his mom and stuff like that. We need to keep prayers out for Landon and his family. So he'll be with me next week. Once again, this is a pre-tape show. This is the college All Sports, All Plays College Breakdown show that is on 9 a.m. to 12 noon. I am carrying you all the way up to 12 noon, but this is a pre-taped show. I had to go out of town for some family thing. My nephew is playing baseball, so I'm going to go watch him play up in Georgia on Saturday today. So this show is taped, but don't let this show fool you since it's taped. It is the real All Sports, All Place Network College Breakdown show that you see every Saturday morning at 9 a.m. until noon, until kickoff. I'm bringing you great content today. I got great content. I got great shows. So let's continue right along. let's move along in the 12 o'clock hour. We're gonna look at here. At the 12 o'clock hour here. I got some deal and some notes here that I'm taking some way here. Okay. We're gonna look at it here. We got UConn at Clemson at 12 o'clock. UConn at Clemson at 12 o'clock. We know how Clemson is right now. It has not looking like Clemson because Clemson lost a lot of players, lost one of the best quarterbacks in college football last year, and Trevor Lawrence is playing with the Jaguars, doing very well with the Jaguars right now. I mean, they won their second game against Buffalo. They did pretty good up there last week. So I mean, I'm talking about they lost Travis Etienne, so they had a lot of and they had some good replacement that made. The quarterback is one of the key big adjustments. So if we look at what you're talking about here in this adjustment here, if they lose to UConn, let's just take a question. I know Clemson fans is going to be jumping all over me. I'll probably see some comments in this comment section, throughout the show and stuff like that when it comes on. So Clemson, if they lose to UConn, what would I say to Devo Sweeney? And I've seen some comments by Devo. He said, we lose to UConn, I probably won't be the coach here. I don't, that's a little bit overblowing. It's a little bit dramatically overblowing in here for Clemson. So, you're looking at Clemson here. I need to dig up. Let me dig up one little aspect of the Clemson aspect here. So let me go here to the aspect of Clemson here. Let me see if I can bring up their record. All right. Let me bring up the standings here for Clemson. Clemson is 5-2 in the ACC, 6-3. They're 4-0 at home. They're 2-2 on the road. So the two losses on the way. They're 6-3 overall. They're on a 2-game winning streak. They're already bowl eligible. They're not going to get one of those top tier. They're not going to get one of those top tier bowls. So they are bowl eligible at 6-3. They don't want to finish off strong this season here. They want to get the quarterback so they can get some experience for next year. I think Clemson program could be back next year in the top 10 program of the country. So if you look at it right now, they're 5-2. They're 5-2. They're 2 games behind Wake Forest in the ACC. Even though Wake Forest lost to North Carolina, it's not an ACC game; it was an overall game. They signed a 2-year deal. They did that 1 year. They played up in Winston-Salem. Then they came back and played the ACC, and then they played this year at Carolina on the 2-game. I think it's a 2-game series, so a home and home series. So they took care of that in overall. I think that was kind of cool with the way they did it. But there's only like the third time. I think the third time in their history that they did they played an overall game. So gave them another Power 5 conference team on the schedule. It kept playing all the ACC schools in North Carolina. I think that was a great idea, and I hope they continue doing that with some of these schools here on that scene. So to me, I think Clemson can handle UConn. I'm going with Clemson, the home team here. This is at 12 o'clock. We're looking at Syracuse at Louisville at 12 o'clock. Syracuse played good at home. They're on the road. They're on the road this week at Louisville. Louisville plays better at home too. They had a lot of injuries against North Carolina. The quarterback didn't seem like himself. They played a great game in North Carolina State. So I think I'm going to go with I'm gonna go with an upset here. I'm gonna say Syracuse wins this ball game out of Syracuse here at 12 o'clock. So I'm going with an upset. Rutgers and Indiana. Let's see here. Rutgers and Indiana. Okay, Rutgers at Indiana. This is going to be a good barometer here for Garciano, who came back to Rutgers. He's got to get his recruits in there and stuff like that. So I think this is a very good aspect of the I think this is going to be a very good a very good barometer taster right here in this contest. I think Indiana is a little bit better team than Rutgers, but I'm gonna take Rutgers on the road to upset Indiana and Indiana. So I'm gonna go with Rutgers here in this ball game. Maine and UMass. That's got to be another tight situation here. UMass is okay. Maine, I haven't really seen play. I'm gonna go ahead and pick. I think UMass wins on a close game by a field goal or something at home. The next game here will be the West Virginia. Let's go a little bit in deep in here in this West Virginia contest here. I'm gonna let y'all know ahead of time that we will be taking breaks at the half hour on the clock. We're gonna take one at the top of the hour, take one at the bottom of the hour, and then back at the top of the hour here. We gotta get some commercials in. We gotta pay the bills basically. So let's take care of this here. We got about 15 minutes. Let's see if we can get a couple more games in here before we have to cut out to the top of the hour break. West Virginia versus Kansas State. This game is at noon. It's at Bill Snyder Family Stadium in Manhattan, Kansas. You can watch this game on FS1. West Virginia comes in at 4-5. Don't let that 4-5 record for West Virginia fool you. West Virginia is a pretty good, decent team, but they play. Sometimes they play with a chip on their shoulder. Sometimes they don't. Sometimes they play with heart. Sometimes they don't. Like that West Virginia and Virginia Tech game, that was heart by West Virginia. West Virginia played with heart. Some games they didn't play with heart. Some games they did play with heart, and then they somehow faltered at the end and then make it a complete close game. So, that's another thing. Don't let that 4-5 record. Kansas State comes in and already bowl eligible at 6-3. West Virginia needs to win out. West Virginia can win out. They can be bowl eligible. They need to win two more games here to become bowl eligible, and this could be one of the stopping stones for West Virginia. But they're playing away from home. They play good at Mountaineer Stadium up in West Virginia, and so that's going to be another key here. Can they go into Manhattan, Kansas, and beat Kansas State? Sometimes Manhattan, Kansas is a tough place to play if they get everything bowling and rolling here. So that's got to be another kind of discussion here that we're going to go ahead and talk about here in this ball game. Let's go looking forward to here. Let's see let me check my notes here and let's play this off. Can West Virginia throw well? This is not really their strong spot. Mountaineer bombs away on Iowa State and pulled off a shocker. The offense didn't work at all against Oklahoma State. It was a rout 24-3 home loss. They lost in Mountaineer Stadium, so they're coming away from that. This has been a wildly hit or miss Mountaineer team, and even when quarterback Jared Dodgy is on, that doesn't necessarily mean everything else is working. So, I mean, they're on a two-quarterback system. So, one quarterback gets rolling, and he doesn't really leave him in. I think that's, to me, if you're going to play a two-quarterback system, let me go. Georgia Tech does it very well. If one quarterback is hot, they stay with him. If one quarterback is not hot, they go and tell to get a hot quarterback in the rotation and stuff like that. But sometimes when you rotate, are kind of hard. It's kind of hard to get them completely rotating in and out. So you gotta figure who's going to be hot, and you got to keep them in there, Mountaineers. That's why I think sometimes they have lost these football games because they're not keeping the hot quarterback in. And when it gets hot, you just take them out, and then sometimes you break the rhythm, the momentum. So that's something you got to really, 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 really look at in this situation here. So, what else we been talking about here? Kansas is on the 3-game winning streak purely because it's not getting bombed on. It was able to get by Nevada, and it's 0-3 in the Big 12 when it gives up over 300 yards passing, and that's what West Virginia's got to do. Mountaineers, listen here, coach. Bomb it away. You got to bomb it away. Because if you don't bomb it away, Kansas State, you keep Kansas State not letting them bomb away, you're going to keep Kansas State right into this ball game. You're going to keep them right at the attack of the ball game. You're going to keep them right where they need to be. You're going to keep them there. So that's got to be another key here for that situation here for Kansas State. Kansas State has to keep West Virginia not bombing away. They got to keep it not bombing away, and then they got to keep it for not doing what they need to do. West Virginia lives on they live on the time of possession. It leads the Big 12, but when needed, Kansas State can clinch on the ball as well as anyone. Throwing it is in the strong pass rush against a way too leaky Mountaineer offense front, which should be at least a 1+ turnover margin, and there's a good formula for the Cats. So they have to turn West Virginia over. They can lead the turnover the turnover margin. They have to lead the turnover margin. So that's got to be the key. That's got to be the key and stuff. So that's got to be the key. That's got to be the key of certain situations and stuff like that. So of that leaky stuff. So let me get rid of that there. All right. So we got you. So you see what I'm saying here? If the Mountaineers can bomb away, if Kansas State don't let them bomb away, we're going to see a pretty good doses of a football game. We're going to see a pretty good barometer of this game here. But if West Virginia can get it bomb away, and then that's going to hurt the Cats. But if the Cats can make them a one-dimensional team and get the pass rush out and get Dodge and the other quarterback out of the situation, the Kansas State can win. Kansas State not really – they're already bowl eligible, but you want to keep padding your wins. You want to keep winning to get a good bowl game. So as you keep winning, you probably get a decent bowl game. So, but West Virginia's got to have this game. Don't get me wrong. Let's go look at West Virginia's West Virginia Mountaineers schedule. Here, because the Mountaineers. Listen, the Mountaineers today has Kansas State. Next Saturday they play in Mountaineerville against Texas. Then they go to Kansas and win. So they got to win 2 of the next 3. They got to go 2-3 in the next these last 3 games here to become bowl eligible. They become bowl eligible. And that's what West Virginia needs. They need to become bowl eligible so they get some extra time in practice and play a decent bowl game here. Hopefully play one of them Christmas Day or something. But they get a extra 3 or 4 weeks of practice. Basically where they play at. So that's going to be good for them. K-State's already got their bowl eligibility, but they're 6-3. They want to keep winning so they can go to a better bowl game here. So that's got to be the takeaway of this contest here. And if you look at it here on this contest here, right now we're taking K-State 24, West Virginia 20. K-State is 6.5 favorite. Over and under is 47. Like I said, about the Mountaineers are intelligent. Their records deceive what they are on the field. If they come out and play one of them hard games, they get taking Kansas State punches. But I don't see him going in. I don't see him going to Manhattan, Kansas, and beating them. So I'm going to go with Kansas State in this matchup here. So I got that out of the way here. I don't think. Let me see here. Nope. All right. We're going to keep moving right along here in this game here. At 12 o'clock, we got UCF at SMU. Once again, SMU is a good power. They're a good balanced attack. They run the ball, they pass the ball, they do everything right. They were ranked at one time this year. They're not ranked in the they're not ranked in the let's bring up the rankings here. Let's bring up the rankings here. I think they were ranked. I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think they're ranked in the AP, not the playoffs, but the AP top 25. Let me see here. I think they're ranked in the AP top 25. I got it going across there. You see it across there. I believe they're ranked in the top 25 in the AP, not in the college playoffs. So SMU has a pretty good team. UCF has a pretty good team. But UCF is going on the road to playing up in at Mustang Land here in SA. I'm going with UCF. I think UCF could pull off an upset here in this ball game. East Carolina at Memphis. East Carolina has not been bowl eligible in a long time. Here, they are 1 win away. 1 win away. East Carolina's 1 win away. Becoming bowl eligible. Let's look at East Carolina stuff here. East Carolina. East Carolina. East Carolina right now is 5-4. Memphis Tigers are 5-4. This is interesting here. This is going to be an interesting battle here. East Carolina has Navy and has Cincinnati. Ooh. East Carolina has Navy at Navy at Navy Marine Corps Field at Indianapolis, Maryland. Then Cincinnati goes visits East Carolina on Friday, November 26th. So Memphis, they're going to Memphis, they're playing the Tigers. If Memphis wins this ball game, they become bowl eligible. If East Carolina wins this ball game, they become bowl eligible. And then Memphis has to wait another week to get it. So we look at the East Carolina schedule. Let's look at Memphis schedule here. Let's look at the Memphis schedule. Memphis will play East Carolina. They got to go to Houston to play the number 17 College Bowl rankings. And then Tulane will go and come into Memphis to play. So Memphis only got to win one game. They got to win one game out of the last three, become bowl eligible. So that's going to be a good contest. I think that since it's playing in Memphis, I'm going to have Memphis becoming bowl eligible, and East Carolina has to come bowl eligible either against Navy or Cincinnati. So that's going to be tough for East Carolina there on that next few stretch here. We're looking at Houston. And Temple. This also game is at 12 o'clock. This game is at 12 o'clock. This is going to be, I think Houston's going to win this game. I think they're going to go into Temple and win it at 12. Houston's a high-power offense. Temple has not really done anything this year. I think Houston will come in and be ready for this game. I don't know if they're playing in Lincoln Financial Field for this game. That's what most Temple home games play. So I have Houston winning this ball game. Bucknell at Army. Bucknell at Army up in West Point. I think Army is a pretty good team. I think they're gonna be where they need to be right now. I think they're gonna be up there excellent. I think they could take Bucknell here. I think that Bucknell's gonna have trouble with the Army's options. So I'm gonna go Army on this one here. Army will win at 12 o'clock. That was the last 12 o'clock game. And then we're moving right along into the Arizona. Number 24 ranked Utah in the college playoff. We'll go down to Arizona. So let's look here. Now we got about 2 minutes here, so we can get started here, and then we'll take a break after this ball games. If we go past the top of the hour break, we'll just take it. This will be the game with number 24 ranked team in the nation. We're gonna go ahead and break this game down here to you. Utah versus Arizona. This game is at 2 o'clock at Arizona Stadium in Tucson, Arizona, on Zone Pac-12 network. Utah comes in at 6-3. Arizona comes in 1-8. What can we see in this ball game here for Utah? Utah has to do one or two things in this ball game here. Arizona has been crushed with injuries. That's got to be a key point. A key focal point on them is they've been crushed with injuries this year. They're not had a full squad and all season long. Since the first game of the season, On the plus side, they are rebuilding under the first-year head coach, Jed Fish. Fish used to coach. He was up in Michigan, offensive coordinator for Michigan. Then went to the Jaguars to be the head coach of the Jaguars. Didn't do very well there. He's been bouncing around his last few times. He's now trying to redirect Arizona. He still has young parts and getting meaningful playing time right now. On the downside is took everything possible to get by Cal team missing more than 20 players in a 10-3 week win. So I mean, Arizona has not really been doing very well. It has been I've been really doing very good. The pressure of them and the young players is really hampering them. If they're on, they're losing 20 players, a game here. It's not very. It's very, very hurtful on their depth, on the depth of their things. So they're 10. They're 10-3 the last few weeks. If you're looking at Arizona, Arizona's offense has been impossible timing of turnover, of moving the change. It takes too much efforts to put points on the board. Utah's going to probably have a field day with Arizona. I think this game is going to be ugly. I think the Wildcats are last in the nation in turnover margins. Utah has the Pac-12 South. There's for taking right now with the win over Arizona State and UCLA. Now it just has to close out strong, needing a 2-win of the 2 of the last 3 wins to fire up there to put away the fast. Arizona does not have a way they can win this ball game. On paper, you have to play the game on the field. So something could miraculously happen with Arizona here, and they finally get a thing to clinch up here. So I mean, that's got to be a situation here. So it could be easier said than done. So many players, injured players, but it should be a loose team. They have no pressure on them. All the pressure right now is on Utah because Utah has got to win that West. They got to win two of the last 3 games, so they got to have a lot of pressure on, and that could get to a team at a certain point for Arizona to take away if they're playing loose cannon. But they have to get some confidence early in the ball game. They have to play. If they get confidence, they're all the way in the game, all the way up through halftime. Then they can get confidence in the ability. So that's gonna be a struggle. That's gotta be a structure stuff. But Utah just ran for 441 yards on Stanford. It's not going to do that against Arizona's defense. So, I mean, defensive front. But as you reading this, 200. The use ground game continues to rock and roll with over 200 yards in the last 3 or 4 games and 4 of the last 6 possessions for Arizona. So if you're looking at this Arizona team, they got a lot of pressure on them. They got a lot of stuff they got to, So you got well over 200 yards in three of the last 4 games. Arizona won't be able to hold up, and the near certain 3 giveaways aren't going to hell. So Utah 40, Arizona 13 to some people. The Utah is favored by 24. This is going to be a blowout. This is going to be not a game that you want to see unless you want to see a lot of offense. Utah is going to run the ball. It's going to do everything they want to do, and they're going to be able to do it compulsively. But that's, again, you have to play. If you look at the paper, and we're announcers and broadcasters wants you to do, is we're predicting these games through what we see on the paper. Teams have to go out in the field and produce the same thing we're talking about. If Utah does what we're talking about and Arizona does not play to the script they're playing right now, and if Arizona plays a different script, then this could be a ball game and could be a good game to watch. But right now, I'm telling you, this game is going to be a blowout by Utah. I'm picking Utah to win this one here, big, over Arizona. So we're going to go ahead. We're going to go ahead and take a break here. This is the All Sports, All Plays College Breakdown. We're going to get some words here in. We'll be right back after these messages.
All sports, all plays. All sports, all plays. All sports, all plays. 365, we making a plays. You talking the game, get you through the days. We're high in the court, the dime in the lane. Variety, topics, living the same. All presentation, sports information. Hitting the airways, taking the nation. All sport, all plays, like working your faces. Grace at the field, so type the laces. All sports, all plays. All sports, all plays. Network. We on top of our game. All sports, all plays. 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 365, we making a plays. You talking the game, get you through the days. We're high in the court, the dime in the lane. Variety, topics, living the same. All presentation, sports information. Hitting the airways, taking the nation. All sport, all plays, like working your faces. Grace at the field, so type the laces. All sports, all plays.
Keep it up, Nicholas.
Welcome back to the All Sports All Plays College Breakdown show. Here, I'm Ray Cruz. My co-host, Dre he's going to take a few time off here. He'll be off part of the next 3 weeks or so. He has some stuff he had to do for his job. We have London, who is supposed to replace him tonight. His mother came down with some illness. We would like to keep his mom and his family in prayers through this time for speedy recovery. He should be back next week on the All Sports All Plays College Breakdown. This is a taping for the Saturday show. I am out of town. Going to watch my nephew play baseball up in Georgia. But you can catch the All Sports All Plays show every Saturday at 9 a.m., leading you all the way up to kickoff at 12 noon, high noon kickoffs. You get all your you get all your information here. You take that information I give you and you go watch the games. You know all the details, but then you go see the game. And so we can see how everything goes. So let's continue right along here in this game. Next game we're going to go through Western Kentucky at Rice. This game is at noon. This play is going to play in Rice. Rice has been playing good at home. Western Kentucky has not been playing good on the road. This is going to be a thing. I think Western Kentucky could take Rice here in this one. I'm taking Western Kentucky in this game here. Georgia State at Coastal Carolina. Coastal Carolina started off hot this season. In the last few years, they've been playing good football. They've been playing excellent hot football and stuff like that. So if you're looking at Coastal Carolina, can they bounce back? They're not in the playoff rankings. They are in, I think, number 23, 24 in the AP poll. You can see it come across the screen here in a moment, and the tickle down below. Georgia State played pretty good against North Carolina up to a certain point. And then if you look at another certain point of their schedule, they've been playing pretty good football a little bit at the end here. Coastal Carolina, let's take a look at their schedule here. The last three, you got this game here and then 2 more games after that. Let's see what Coastal Carolina football schedule looks like here. Georgia State Panthers has to win out the last 2 games here. If they can win out the last 2 games, they become bowl eligible. They're ranked number 22 in the AP poll. And Coastal Carolina is. They're 8-1. So they're already bowl eligible. They got a game against Texas State at home, and then they go on the road to South Alabama. Let's look at the ASUN standings right here. Let's bring out the ASUN standing football standings here. Let's look at the standings here. Let's look at the ASUN standings here in football. Where's the thing out of here? Here, ASUN's football standings here. No, that's not it. That's not the one I want. I think it's the Sun Belt Conference. Yeah. It's Sun Belt Conference. I'm sorry. Let's take a look at the Sun Belt football standings. Let's look at it here. Right now, not that one. Why did it take that one away? Okay. All right, here we go. Appalachian State, because they beat Coastal Carolina this season. They're both 4-1 conference play, but the tiebreaker goes to Appalachian State University if they went out. They're 4-0 at home, 5-0 at home, 3-1 on the road. The road loss, they have number one in Boone, North Carolina, Coastal Carolina Chandeliers. They have not won in Boone, North Carolina ever. So they continue that loss streak there. It was a good game, close game. I watched every single minute of that game. So Coastal Carolina's playing tough right now. They got to win out all of their games here, and Appalachian State has to fumble at least one of the conference games for Coastal Carolina can win that Group A. Group B right now, Louisiana is 6-0. They're 8-1 overall. They're 5-0 at home, 3-1 in the last 8. So that's what we're looking at. The Sun Belt right there. The conference championship could go between Appalachian State and Louisiana, but they have to go. The conference has to go through Louisiana unless Louisiana drops one, and then we will see how that breaks out there, and that thing. So I got Coastal Carolina winning this one because it's in Conway, South Carolina, and they play tough at home. This is now in South Alabama. This is a South Alabama and Appalachian State University. Let's go look here. Let's look at App State's schedule here. App State here, if you look at it, they play South Alabama. Then they turn around next weekend and play Troy. And then they play Georgia Southern at Boone. So they go to Troy and they go back to Boone for the last game of the season. So that's going to be a barn burner there of a schedule. Let's go back to the ASUN standing here. Troy is in the conference, so they got to win Troy, and then they got Georgia Southern. So if you look at it here, Appalachian State's got Troy, who are 3-2, 5-4, 3-1 at home, 2-3 on the road. Appalachian State's 2-2 on the road. Don't forget that App State's is 2-2 on the road, so they play 500 ball on the road right now this season. But they're 7-2 overall. They're already bowl eligible. Troy needs one win to become bowl eligible. Georgia Southern is 1-5 in conference play, 2-7, 2-3, 0-4 on the road. So that's going to be the best bet for them for App State. Is App State has to win at home against take care of their home turf this week, and they play South Alabama, who is 2-4, 5-4. They're one win away from bowl eligibility at 6-4. Be at 5-4. They're 4-1 at home. This game is in Appalachian State. They're 1-3 on the road. So that I think Boone, North Carolina is rowdy. I think it's going to be tough to play in Boone, North Carolina in the winter. So I'm going ahead and take Appalachian State over South Alabama in this ball game. We're going to continue right along here. We have Georgia Southern at Texas State. Georgia Southern is 1-5, 2-7 overall, and Texas State is 2-3, 3-6, 2-3. If that's a long if Texas State can keep on going, they could go 6-6. They become bowl eligible, so they have to win their last 3 games to remaining the season to get it. I think they could do that. I think they'll win this week over Georgia Southern since they're playing at home. So I got Texas State over that game here. Let's go ahead and continue right along here. Now, this is going to be an interesting game coming up here, what we're going to be talking about here. We're going to be talking about Georgia at Tennessee. I need some Right. A lot of talking. Got to keep your mouth voice. Key. It's the key to pace yourself when you're doing a show by yourself. You have to pace yourself, to keep the time coming. Try to keep everybody interested in here. We can't change different screenshots. We can't change screens and stuff like that. So we have to keep doing what we're doing here to produce good content. This game is on Saturday, November 13th. Game time is at 3:30 Eastern time. The venue is at Neyland Stadium in Knoxville, Tennessee. You can watch this game on CBS. Georgia comes in at 9-0. Tennessee comes in 5-4. We're going to talk about a little bit of issues here with Georgia. One of Georgia wide receivers out for the year, broke his leg in practice this past week. During the week, also they have the linebacker who got arrested, turned himself in this week for a rape charge up in Georgia. So they got that, and then receiving core for Georgia is kind of not. It's not deep. People are talking about it. Not really deep in the receiving core. Can this injury really hurt Georgia? Georgia's been playing lights out. They're 9-0. Tennessee comes in 5-4. With Hendon Booker's been playing great. Josh Heupel, I think it's going to be a few more years. I think a year or two, get Josh Heupel recruits in there. We could see a Tennessee changing his course. This is the third street. This has been a new hire. They had the former coach of Cincinnati was that Tennessee didn't do too good. They brought Pruitt in from off of Florida State, defensive coordinator from Florida State and in Alabama. They brought him in. He didn't stabilize the program. Now they're doing Josh Heupel, who had a good season at UCF the last 2 years. They brought him in. He's done pretty good. Hendon Booker transferred out of Virginia Tech. I think Virginia Tech, they should have tried to kept him and not let him get in the transfer portal, but that didn't work out too well. So Hendon Booker has come in. Has him and Milton have done pretty good. But it's Hendon Booker's job right now to lose again. The defense really is just that amazing. Georgia's defense is really amazing. No, it's not technically the number one defense in college football. Wisconsin holds that discussion, but this thing is special. Their defense is really special. You got to understand Davis, the big nose tackle, who's a mammoth of a man. They have you double team, and he still breaks the double team out. He's the man in the middle. You can't run the ball up the middle. I don't know why teams still try to do it. It's a good plan to try to do it, but it's not really helping them out too much because you're really seeing the task of what Davis does in that middle for Georgia. He stabilized that front seven. That front seven is great. The pass rush gets into it. When you got double team Davis, you going one-on-one against that pass rush, and sometimes you don't have a chance because that pass rush has got speed, got power. They can bull rush you. So what Tennessee has to do, they're going to have to do a lot of chipping with their backs coming out before they go out in that pass route. Can Tennessee's offensive line keep Hendon Booker up? Can Hendon Booker use the aggression of the Georgia defensive line against them and do a lot of quarterback, run keepers? That could be a thing. So you have to prepare for that too if you're Georgia. As amazing as Tennessee's offense has been, the defense can't keep off the field. The teams are converting close to half of their third down tries against the balls. The Georgia formula will work just fine. Don't take a chance, run the ball, rely on the defense front to take over and control this clock for close to 40 minutes. However, can Tennessee win? How does Tennessee need to win this game? Yeah, Georgia's defense is amazing, but it hasn't faced anything like this. Auburn is playing well, but it doesn't have the high power passing game that Tennessee brings. So Tennessee's got a passing game that you got to watch out for. Georgia has to watch out for. So that could stabilize a little bit there. So who else on the schedule can do much on the offense? Florida, sort of, but not really. Kentucky, not Arkansas, yeah, but in a different way. Clemson, Vanderbilt, not offensive schemes that rest the SEC, but the Tennessee tempo, speed, balance should be enough to make the Dogs defense have to work a bit. Then again, we say that, and it never turns out to be true because somehow Georgia makes your other team get nervous when you see Davis on the field who gets that thing. Talent-wise, DJ Ungalea is the best quarterback Georgia has faced, even if it's not playing like it. But Hendon Booker might be the most effective passer playmaker on the dog slate. Don't give Hendon Booker, because North Carolina's played him. North Carolina and all the ACC teams have played Hendon Booker, and he's done pretty good when he was at Virginia Tech. He's doing excellent for Tennessee. He's learning that offense very well. So can Tennessee score more than 13 points? That's got to be a tell to see. If Tennessee can score over 13 points, that might make dogs a little bit worried and could give Tennessee a shot. If Tennessee can pull this upset against the dogs, this will be in Neyland Stadium. Most people are predicting Georgia 45, Tennessee will break the 20 point mark if they do that. Georgia's favored by 20.5. Over and under is 56. I'm going to go with Georgia at Neyland Stadium. I don't care. Georgia will win this ball game and stay undefeated. This game is at 3:30. So that's where we're looking at right there for the Georgia game. Right now, have been seven of our 19 games I have on the list of deeply breaking down for you guys. We're 7 away. We got 9 more to go in that. We have a lot more to go here on the telecast of the Pick'em. So we have a lot of games to continue to go here. Our next game will be number 19, Purdue, at number 4, Ohio State. This is one of our deeply breakdown games. This is number 8 out of 17 here on the breakdown. We break down very deeply. We have Ohio State versus Purdue. How to watch this game is at 3:30 at Ohio State Stadium at Ohio Stadium, Columbus, Ohio. The game can be seen on ABC. Ohio State is 8-1. Purdue is 6-3. With a win over then number 2 Iowa, and after taking down the college football number 3 Michigan State. Who's playing with more swag right now? That's the key. Purdue has played pretty good. They beat Iowa when they were ranked in the top 10. Who else? Let's go take a look at Purdue's schedule. And we got to take a hit here. We're going to put Purdue in the spotlight right now here. Because Purdue's been playing good football here lately this season. They made some good moves and stuff like that. So let's just check out their schedule here for the 2021 season here. All right, the Boilermakers. Okay, the season. Purdue started off losing to Oregon State 21-30. Purdue beat Connecticut 49-0. Purdue lose to Notre Dame at back then number 7 Notre Dame 27-13 on September 18th. Purdue beat Illinois on the 25th at 13-9. They lose to Minnesota 20-13. Purdue beat number 19 Iowa 24-7 in Iowa. Then they come home and lose to number 20 Wisconsin 30-13. Purdue goes into Lincoln, Nebraska, wins 28-23. Number 8 Michigan State comes into Purdue. They lose 40-29. That's on Saturday, November 6th. Now Purdue's going to play Ohio State. They got Northwestern next, and then they finish up with Indiana. So if Purdue goes 3-0 here in this thing, let's see where they're sitting in the Purdue is 6-3. They're bowl eligible. They're right now 4-2. They're tied in the Big Ten West with Wisconsin, Minnesota, and Purdue. So that's a big if. Let's go back to the games here. That's a big if. Minnesota has to lose. And Wisconsin has to lose. And if Purdue can win out, if Purdue can win out, and one of these, and Minnesota and Wisconsin stumbles one of the 2 out of their last 3 games, Purdue can win the Big Ten West. Let's take that for a moment. Purdue could win the Big Ten West if Minnesota and Wisconsin lose one out of the 2-3 if they run the table. Purdue has a good shot to run the table, except for the Ohio State game, and that's in Columbus. So that's going to be a little bit of a give and take here for Ohio State. I really want to go into Ohio State's schedule right now. Let's go to the Ohio State. Let me see if I can get the Buckeyes schedule up here. All right, we got the Buckeyes schedule. This is the key. Is Ohio State be looking ahead? Because the next two games after this game here against Purdue is against number 8 Michigan State in Ohio. They got to go to a big house in Ann Arbor, Michigan to play number 9 Michigan University. That's going to be a big question. Is Ohio State looking ahead and Purdue could catch them? Looking ahead. That's going to be the key. If they take this team lightly, that's what I'm saying, lightly, Purdue can come back and bite you. Well, what will Purdue have to do? With a win over number two Iowa, which they were number 19 at the time, and after taking down the college football playoffs number 3 team, Michigan State, who's playing with more swag right now, there might have been a problem against Wisconsin defense, but Purdue has won 3 of its last 4 games and is bowl eligible, and even there's still a path to take the Big Ten West title. It's playing with house money because Purdue wasn't predicted to do anything in the Big Ten. They weren't predicted to win the Big Ten West. They weren't picked to do what they're doing right now. And this is probably one of the best teams Purdue had since Drew Brees was there. So, I mean, you got to understand that sentiment here for Purdue. Purdue has come out of nowhere. They're playing with house money right this year. Ohio State is giving up penalty passing yards. Plenty of passing yards. The Boilermakers' defense pressure is good enough to make C.J. Stroud hurry a bit. And no quarterback in the Big Ten is playing better over the last few games than Aiden O'Connell for Purdue. And this is what I'm gonna break it down for you here. He has threw for 3 picks against amazing Wisconsin defense, but he hit 75% of his passes over the last 4 games with 8 touchdowns since that Wisconsin game. He has came up with 375 yards passing against a strong Iowa defense, ripped up Michigan State's defense with 536 yards, and now he has a wide receiver Bell against a Buckeye defense that are allowing close to 250 yards per game through the air. Woo! Through the air. What's going to have to give here for this for Purdue to upstate this Ohio State team? But Purdue hasn't played anyone with a passing game like Ohio State is going to bring. It might be a little different than time to warm up, and might be not as consistent as it should be. But Stroud has been fantastic. He has connected on a whole lot of big plays, and the ON is second in the nation, averaging 45 points per game. Purdue secondary is statistically okay, but who's the great passing quarterback on the schedule so far? Graham Miz of Wisconsin, Iowa of Spencer Perez, Notre Dame Jack Cohen. They are all good, but none of them are making big plays happen like Stroud. CJ Stroud, he has done pretty good for Ohio State. He has played a dynamic so far. Yes, Ohio State defense will give up plenty of yards in this, but there won't be any Purdue running game, and offensive front will allow enough plays in the backfield to stall a few key drives. And that's going to be the key there. Can Purdue run the ball on Ohio State? If Purdue can get a running game going, That might keep them at bay. It might keep them at bay. That's going to be a good key. They might keep them at bay. Don't get caught up with with what happened last week. The Michigan State defense gave up a ton of yards to Michigan and hadn't played anyone all great before getting to Purdue. That wasn't a total shocker. Nebraska might be 3-7, but it's been playing relatively well and keeping games tight. Ohio State hard 26-17 win over the Huskers wasn't anything to get over to get into a twisted over. Purdue will get its yards, but the Ohio State offensive machine will ramp up with good balance and more big plays down the field. They're looking at the score here. Some people are predicting this game to be Ohio State 37, Purdue 23. The line on this is Ohio State's 20, over and under 62. Purdue goes into Ohio State. I think number 4 Ohio State has enough offense to keep them out. I think Ohio State wins this ball game. So we're going to come right back here on the All Sports All Place Network. This is the College Breakdown. I'm Ray Cruz, and we're going to bring up some more advertisement from our sponsor, the Fox D Network.
This is the Fox D Streaming Network. Register to come on our channel at foxdnetwork.com.
Welcome back to the All Sports All Place Network. My name is Ray Cruz. This is the College Breakdown Show. Like I said, this is a pre-taped show. I would be out of town on Saturday, but this will take you all the way up to College Breakdown game. This is not what we do when we do live. This is the exact same way we do it live. It's nothing we can place. Like I said, this is a pre-recorded show. I've been due to some family get together outside of the normal times here. The All Sports Network. We're normally here at Saturdays at 9 a.m. to noon. This will take you all the way up from 9 a.m. to noon. So stay with us here on the All Sports All Place Network, the College Breakdown Show. And let's keep moving right along here. This game is at 3:30, Minnesota at number 20, Iowa. This game is at Canadian Stadium in Iowa City in Iowa. It's on the Big Ten Network. Minnesota comes in at 6-3. Iowa comes in at 7-2. So if you look at what we're talking about in this here, this could be one of the games that Minnesota could lose this ball game here against Iowa. If Iowa beats this could help. If Purdue could get past Ohio State, like I said, I picked Ohio State to win. But if they could get past them and Purdue wins out, Minnesota loses this ball game here, they'll be behind Purdue. But if Purdue loses, Minnesota loses, and if Wisconsin loses, the same scenario next week will be played out again. Same scenario. Purdue is not out of this yet. If Purdue goes 2-3 in the last 3 games, and Minnesota goes 0-3, and Wisconsin goes 0-3 the last 3 games, Purdue still wins the Big Ten West. Just think of that for a moment. Purdue is playing with house money this year. House money. What will it say for the Big Ten West if Purdue takes that? It could happen. It could. Will it happen? I predict it won't happen. But it's a good scenario for Purdue and Minnesota here, and this is going to be a big game for Minnesota here coming into Iowa. I like the tradition in the fourth quarter that everybody stands up and waits to the kids at the hospital. I think that's a very unique idea they put into that. It could be a selling point for people to come to Iowa when recruiting. Iowa doesn't score. We know that, but over the 51 hung on Maryland was sassy. The defense helped cranked out things up early in the season. But since then, the 23-20 win over Penn State, the Hawkeyes have scored a grand total of 31 points in 3 minutes. In three games. If you're hanging 17 on Northwestern, there's an issue. But Minnesota season has been weird. It's just been totally weird for Minnesota. It has a spinal tap drummer thing happening at running back, but until last week against Illinois, the ground game kept on working just fine. Meanwhile, the defense has been fantastic, holding everyone but Nebraska 30-23 Gopher wins by 14 points or fewer over the last six of the last 7 games. The run-dominant time of possession battle keeps being good at not turning the ball over. Minnesota can do that. That's what Minnesota can do. Wait, Iowa on the other hand, Iowa's defense is still strong through the issues, and it's got back to taking the ball away in bunches. 3 picks against Northwestern, but that's against Northwestern. The Hawkeyes has been outstanding against the run, allowing fewer than 100 yards in every game. But Penn State's giving up 107, and against Wisconsin allowing 166 yards. Minnesota doesn't have to run for 300 yards to win, but they do need to win. They need at least the magic number is 150. The magic number is 150. That could cause problems for Iowa. But if Minnesota's running game does not get that magic number 150 and they keep under it, Iowa will win this ball game because Iowa defense will keep them in the game. Will keep it a little bit low-scoring game. And Minnesota is statistically awesome on the road this season. But it destroyed Colorado, had no problems in Northwestern, but was terrific against Purdue. Now it gets Iowa, team that can't throw enough to matter. It is enough out of the ground game to pick up the slack. So don't expect everything outside the Gopher celebration when it holds up the Floyd Roselle Trophy after an ugly game with a wee bit more scoring than you might think. The predicted Minnesota 22-23, Iowa 17. Iowa was favored by 5.5. Over and under is 37. It's going to be a real low-scoring game. I'm taking Iowa at home over Minnesota in this ball game. So, okay, moving right along here. This game is at 3:30. Southern Mississippi at number 23, University of Texas at San Antonio. This is interesting. This San Antonio team is. It's very interesting. Let me go here. Let's talk about the University of Texas at San Antonio. Here, let's talk about their schedule here. Excuse me. Southern Miss Golden Eagles will go into UTSA road runs number 15th, and then they're 9-0. They're 9-0 this season. They got this game, and then they go against UAB. We'll come in San Antonio to play UTSA at 3:30 next weekend, and then they finish up on the road at North Texas. If they can win the last 3 games, they go undefeated. This team has come out of nowhere. This team wasn't even ranked this year. We don't know too much about them. They've been playing with house money, and they're undefeated right now. They're 9-0. And they win these last 3 games. They could go 12-0 this season. Won't make the playoffs, but could he finish up high, one of the higher ranks to get that New Year's 6-day bowl game? That's going to be the good question about the UTSA. They've been playing great football. I think they're going to still be undefeated after this ball game. I got UTSA winning this ball game. All right, for going into 3:30 here. There's a lot of 3:30 games. Charlotte, the 49ers at Louisiana Tech at 3:30. Charlotte's been playing. They've been playing okay football here. Let's check out their schedule here. Let's check out their stuff here in this ball game. See what Charlotte is right here. Can they be bowl eligible? Can they get? Oh yes, they only need one game. They need to win one out of the last 3 games. They got to go. They play Louisiana Tech Bulldogs. They're 2-7 at Louisiana Tech. They win this ball game to become bowl eligible. They can pad their bowl eligibility if they can go. When Marshall comes and plays Charlotte in Charlotte on next Saturday at 3:30, and then Charlotte goes to Old Dominion on November 27th. If they can win at least one out of the last 3 ball games, they come bowl eligible. I think they can do that. I think they get the win here. I'm calling Charlotte for the victory against Louisiana Tech. The next one is Florida International in Middle Tennessee at 3:30. This is an interesting contest here. I'm gonna go take a look at it. I think Middle Tennessee is a little bit better. About Middle Tennessee. Yeah, they're playing Florida International. Florida International is 1-8. Middle Tennessee is 4-5. If Middle Tennessee can win this game and beat Old Dominion next week, they become bowl eligible. If they can win if they win all the last 3 games here, they could finish out 7-5. So I think Middle Tennessee will win this ball game here today. Florida Atlantic at Notre Dame at Old Dominion. I'm gonna pick an upset here. I'm gonna pick Old Dominion to win this ball game at Old Dominion up in Norfolk. Yeah, this is an interesting contest. UAB and Marshall. I like both teams. UAB is a little bit better. I think the Herds up in Marshall is tough to play. I'm gonna pick UAB. I think UAB is gonna go up there and pull an upset in Marshall. Now we're going. Let's talk about here. Let's talk about this. This is an interesting one here. Miami at Florida State at 3:30 on ESPN. I said Miami at Florida State at 3:30 p.m. Florida State has played excellent football here in the last few weeks. They played good all the way up when they played Notre Dame. They had some spells in between. They beat North Carolina. Then they lose to NC State. Miami's playing hot football since that North Carolina game. Miami lost to North Carolina in Chapel Hill, but beat North Carolina State the following week. And they've been on a roll ever since. And if you take a look here, about Miami football here, let's go to the ACC standings here with Miami Hurricanes. The Hurricanes in there, because if you look at it here, if you look at this right here, let's do a little bit of a tell of a tape with Miami right now. Let's do a little bit of tell of a tape with Miami for this season. September 2nd, they beat Bethune-Cookman 41-13. August 24th, I'm sorry, that's the wrong one. I want to get to the standings. Let's do the standings real quick here, and I figured it out. Miami is 3-2, 5-4. They got one game to become bowl eligible. They're 4-2 at the road and 1-1 away. They won 3 straight games in this contest here. So let's go take a look at the games again here. All right, here we go. They lose to Miami number 3 ranked team in the nation, 44-13. They barely beat Appalachian State 25-3. They lose to Michigan State 38-17 at home. They come back and wallop Central Connecticut State 69-0. Virginia beats them at home in that great overtime game and missed field goal 30-28. They go to North Carolina. North Carolina's winning this game. They made a comeback. North Carolina won the game 45-42. Then they beat NC State by 1 point on October 23. They go up and beat Pitt. Beat Pitt 38-34 in Heinz Field. Then they come back and beat Georgia Tech at home 33-30. They go up. They got to go up to Doak Campbell Stadium on Bobby Bowden Field tomorrow at 3:30. If Florida State can win this game, I'm talking Miami can win this game, then they can beat Virginia Tech at home, and they can beat Duke at last game of the season. If they can win the last 3 games, here, they're going to put themselves in good position because they win the tiebreaker against they lose the tiebreaker against Virginia. They got the tiebreaker against Pitt. But let's take a look. Pitt beat North Carolina last night in a great overtime game. Let's take a look at Pitt's remaining schedule here. They played Thursday night football. Let's take a look at Pitt's remaining schedule. Ooh, Pitt. This is going to be a key game here next week. Pitt has to beat Virginia. If Pitt can win out the last 2 games of their season, they have taken the Coastal Division. But if Virginia knocks them out, they're all tied atop of the Coastal Division, which Virginia will hold the tiebreaker against Pitt if they beat them, and then they hold a tiebreaker against Miami. And that's going to be the quick question. And then Pitt finishes it off at Syracuse. So Pitt has to go 2-0 the last 2 games of the season to have a chance to do anything. Now, let's go look at Virginia here. Let's look at what the Cavaliers got after this. They got Pitt. We know they got Pitt. Let's take a look at the Cavaliers. Ooh, this is not a conference game. This is an overall game. Virginia, number 7, they have to go to number 7. Notre Dame has to go to Virginia and Scott Stadium. Virginia's tough at home. They played tonight. They played last night. So that's got to be huge. That's got to be huge. They played last night and stuff like that. So that's got to be huge right there. So let's take a look. Let's take a look here. Let's take a look at the thing here. So I lost my train of thoughts here for a moment. Let me put my train of thoughts here. Let's go look at something here. Okay, I'm sorry. They played tonight. I'm sorry, I had it all mixed up. They actually played tonight. At 7:30 p.m. they play at Scott Stadium. So that's going to be a good game to be watching if you're up there. Then they play Pitt the following Saturday, and then they play the rivalry of Virginia Tech in Virginia. We know Virginia Tech is struggling after they had a good thing. So if Virginia can win out, then they're in the driver's seat for the win in the Coastal Division. If Virginia falters and Miami wins out, but Virginia has to falter twice. They have to lose twice if they can get past that Pitt game. If they can get past this game winning, because it's not going to mess anything in the ACC. This is an overall game now. Remember last year, number 7 Notre Dame was in the ACC because they were independent conference. Nobody wanted to play independent conference. So the ACC gave them a pass to play in the ACC. So now it's an overall game, so it doesn't count against conference records. So if Virginia could lose this game, it doesn't affect them in the standings of the ACC. But it does. But the next game does affect the standings of the ACC. If Virginia can win this game and then they beat Virginia Tech, Virginia will win the Coastal Division and play in the ACC title game. So there's a lot of riding here. There's a lot of issues going on in this ball game here that we're talking about for Miami. Do I see Miami going into Florida State and winning? I think Miami's on a hot streak. So I'm picking Miami on the case of the hot streak. It'll be a very good game. I think it's going to be a close game than what most people think. Boston College at Georgia Tech. I think both teams need this victory right here to become bowl eligible. It's be huge for Georgia Tech if they can become bowl eligible. Let's look at Georgia Tech here. Let's look at it here. Georgia Tech, Georgia Tech will not become bowl eligible. I'm sorry. Georgia Tech is 3-6. They got a game against Boston College that's 5-4, who will become bowl eligible if they can win one of the last 3 games. One out of the last 3 games, they become bowl eligible. Now, for Georgia Tech can somehow miraculously sweep this section here, they could come bowl eligible. But they have to beat Boston College, which is a winnable game because it's playing in Atlanta. Then they got to go to Notre Dame Stadium. They play number 7 Notre Dame at 2:30 next Saturday. And then they close out on November 27th. Number 1 is number 1 Georgia. Probably going to be played at Mercedes-Benz, the new stadium in Atlanta. So I don't count my blessing for Georgia Tech. I think Georgia Tech could win against Boston College. I'll pick Georgia Tech to beat Boston College this week. Duke and Virginia Tech. Let's look at Duke. Duke is 3-6 overall. Duke has to win out the last 3 games. They have to beat this game against Virginia Tech at Lane Stadium. Then they have to they got back-to-back games at Wallace Wade Stadium against Louisville and Miami. I don't see Duke becoming bowl eligible. So their season probably be finishing up with Miami. I think Virginia Tech is 4-5. They got to win 2 of the last 3 games. They had to beat Virginia. I know that the last game of the season. Let's see who else they got remaining here. They got to beat. If they beat Duke, they'd be 5-5, and they could beat Miami. Then they'll be 6-5. But if they become bowl eligible, they got to win at least 1 out of the last 2. They got to win 2 out of the last 3 games to become bowl eligible. Virginia does. I think they take care of Duke easily at Lane Stadium. So let's continue right along. Iowa State, Texas Tech. I think this should be a pretty good game here. I think Iowa. Let's look at Iowa State here. Iowa State had an up and down season so far this year, and they predicted pretty good. Iowa State is 6-3. They are bowl eligible. Texas Tech, if they could beat Iowa State, Texas Tech needs to win 1 game out of the last 3. They play Iowa State, the Cyclones, and Texas Tech in Texas, their stadium. Then Iowa State, has to go with Texas Tech. Then Iowa State has to go to Oklahoma, and then TCU will come to Iowa State for the last 3 games here. Let's look at Texas Tech and see who they got to do here. Texas Tech needs 1 win out of the last 3 to become bowl eligible. Let's look at Texas Tech here. Texas Tech has to play Iowa State this week. If they can beat Iowa State, become bowl eligible. If they don't, then they'd have to wait and play Oklahoma State, number 10, at Texas. So they play back-to-back home games, 8 o'clock next Saturday. If they can beat that, then they become bowl eligible. If they didn't beat Iowa State, then they got Baylor. So they got a tough schedule here. They got to go. They got Iowa. They got Texas. Texas Tech's got Iowa, Oklahoma State, and Baylor to finish up and become bowl eligible. This is the key. I think this is the game they need to win to become bowl eligible. So I'm picking. I don't think they would do it, but I think Iowa State will have enough time to come and win this game. Louisiana and Troy. I'm taking Louisiana over Troy. We're going to get into the big ones here coming up here now. We got the Maryland and Michigan State game. Let's go ahead and break this game down a little bit here. This is one of our next games that we're going to actually break down. This is the 10th game that we're going in depth to break down. Out of 19 games that we have predicted to go down here, and then we're going to go. Then we'll get to the speed rounds a little bit here to speed it up a little bit, get it through all this. So, I printed out the schedule off, and it was like almost. It's like we're on the second page is the full one, and then the third page is it's like half full with a lot of games. So we'll finish it all up here. They say the USC California game, if you're looking for that game this week, it's going to be postponed. That game will not be played. That game has been postponed. USC at California. All right. So if you're looking for that game will not be played at all this weekend. Maryland at number 7, Michigan State at 4 p.m. time. This game will be on Fox. This game will be played at Spartan Stadium in East Lansing, Michigan. Michigan State is 8-1. Maryland comes in at 5-4. Maryland can win this game to become bowl eligible. Maryland needs to at least win 1 out of the last 3 games to become bowl eligible. Maryland. If you look at the rate here for Maryland, Maryland is good against the bad teams, and the AFUL against the good ones, at least since the 30-24 win over West Virginia to start the season. There's no shame in losing to Ohio State or Minnesota or Iowa or Penn State, but the Terps were collectively humiliated in all 4 games by a combined of 182-61. They slipped past Illinois and had no problems getting by Howard or Indiana or Kent State. There is no running game for the Spartans to worry about, and the defense has been getting crushed over the last 6 games, allowing way over 400 yards in each one. Michigan State defense is good. It's about to get hammered. Michigan's pass defense is about to get hammered. There were issues here and there for the last few weeks. Western Kentucky University threw on everyone. So 480 yards weren't as a big deal, but Miami, Derek King went off, but the Spartans have struggled, allowing 942 yards passing over the last 2 games. Maryland's offense is consistent, but Tagovailoa has been good, but the pass game should hit 300 yards, and the O should keep the pressure on. Keith Walker is about to have a day. So that tells me Maryland's rush defense is not that very good. And we know what Kenneth Walker can do. He's having a Heisman year. Candidate. He's former Wake Forest running back, transferred over to Mel Tucker and Michigan State Spartans. The Michigan State defense will once again look mediocre, but Walker will run for well over 100 yards. The Spartans' offense will take over as the game goes on. Maryland will misfire just enough to help committing 3 turnovers to let the game get out of hand. Once again, Michigan State's favored by 13. One person said Michigan State will win 37-17. I think Michigan State will go up into Spartan Stadium. They're at home. I think Michigan State will win this ball game. So, all righty. So we're getting ready. It's the top of the hour. We're going to take another break here. So we'll be right back. We got a few commercials that we wanted to recognize here at the ASAP Sports Network. Be back in a few moments. This is the All Sports, All Place Network. This is the College Breakdown. I'm Ray Cruz. My co-host Dre cannot be here for the next 3 weeks. He has some other work engagements he has to do. And Landon, his mother became ill tonight, and we want to keep his mother in prayer. He was supposed to be here tonight, but he will be back next week here to fill in for Dre. So this is the All Sports, All Play Network. I am Ray Cruz. Stand by for these few messages.
What did you say?
I said Kobe Bean Bryant has been overrated ever since he passed away.
Now, I'd say they could lose about 4, but I don't see them losing 5. You know what I mean?
All sports, all plays. 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 365, we're making a plays. You talking the game, get you through the days. We're high in the court, the dime in the lane. Variety, topics, living the same. All presentation, sports information. In the airways, taking the nation. All sport, all plays, like working your faces. Grace at the field, so type the laces. All sports, all plays. All sports, all plays. Network. We on top of our game. All sports, all plays. 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 365, we're making a plays. You talking the game, get you through the days. We're high in the court, the dime in the lane. Variety, topics, living the same. All presentation, sports information. In the airways, taking the nation. All sport, all plays, like working your faces. Grace at the field, so type the laces. All sports, all plays.
Welcome back to the All Sports, All Place Network. This is the College Breakdown. I am Ray Cruz. Here I am, your host on the College Breakdown on the All Sports, All Place Network. Due to family commitment, this is a pre-taped show. I want to reiterate, this is a pre-taped show. This will air every Saturday at 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. leading up to kickoff time. This show will carry you all the way up to kickoff time. Please stay here. Listen to this broadcast. I set up a good game plan here. We're going over almost 19 teams here. Right now we have done 10 of the things, so we'll keep moving right along here. We got a lot more to go here on the last hour of the show. This is leading right up to kickoff time. So let's go with South Carolina and Missouri. This game is at 4:00. South Carolina came off that game out of Florida on the thing. I think South Carolina is on the verge of being bowl eligible. Let's see here. Let's see how South Carolina looks here. South Carolina is on the time to be 5-4. They got to win one of the last 3 games. They're playing at Missouri. Missouri is 4-5. Missouri's got to win 2 of the last 3 games to become bowl eligible. South Carolina has Auburn as Missouri. Number 16, Auburn will come to South Carolina, and they finish Clemson will come to South Carolina. Also, on the 27th, I think they can pull one of these wins out. I think this is the key win right here to get them bowl eligible because they're going to have a little bit of tough time trying to beat Auburn next weekend. And then Clemson comes down. You know, that's going to be a battle. But South Carolina thinks they could beat Clemson this year because of the missing pieces that Clemson has and the down year that Clemson is running right now. So it's going to be a big thing. I'm picking Missouri. I have a feeling Missouri's going to win at home here. Let's check out Missouri's last few games here to see who they got to play to become bowl eligible. Check out Missouri here. Missouri got, like I said, they're playing. They got to go. They got Florida coming to town. Florida's, we had some issues here. Got rid of their offensive line coach and got rid of their defensive coach. So we're going to see how they play here this week. So if Missouri can win against South Carolina and can win against Florida, they become bowl eligible. They got Arkansas waiting in the wings for the last 3 games, so they have to win 2 out of the last 3 to become bowl eligible. I think they take the first step against South Carolina here. We have UTEP in North Texas. I think UTEP will go into North Texas. North Texas played good last weekend. They won. I think North Texas will keep it up here. I'm gonna pick North Texas over UTEP. They're playing at home. Tulsa and Tulane. I have to get Tulane's been playing great. Let's look here. They played great against Oklahoma the first game of the season at Oklahoma Stadium, even though they were the away team. Let's take a look at Tulane's record here. Tulane is 1-8. So then none of these 2 teams will become bowl eligible unless somehow Tulsa can play the last 3 games and go undefeated in the last 3 games. If you look at we'll look at Green Wave. Green Wave plays Tulsa. Then they got to go to South Florida, come to play them there, and then they got to go to Memphis on the last 3 games there. Let's look at Tulsa here. Like I said, I think Tulsa, and if they have a good favorable schedule down at the end, if they can beat the Green Waves, that brings them 4-6. If they can beat Temple, they're playing Temple at home. That become 5-6. And then they got to go to SMU, and I think that's going to be the stumble game. They're going to come close, but I think that might be the stumble game for them. But I don't even think they're going to get past Tulane. I'm sorry, they will get past Tulane, but I don't think they will get past SMU at the last game of the season. There, they become bowl eligible. Let's look at Hawaii. Hawaii is a team that, interests me because I was stationed out there in Hawaii. I have seen some of the Rainbow Warriors games at Aloha Stadium. They're 4-6. If they can go into UNLV and win this game, they'd be 5-6. If Colorado State has to come out to Hawaii, they can win that game. They come 5-6. I'm sorry, they come 6-6. So if they can beat this and then it will beat Colorado State, because they got to go to Lerman, Wyoming on the 27th. And that's a 3 p.m. game, so that's a long travel there. So if they can beat UNLV at UNLV and go home and beat Colorado State, they can go bowl eligible. I got Hawaii beating UNLV at UNLV. Arkansas State, I don't think they have a chance of actually going into I don't think they have an actual shot at it here. So I think Arkansas State, UNL Monroe. I'm going with UNL Monroe. They're playing at home. I'm doing a little bit. This is going to be a little bit of a speed round here. I got Stanford at Oregon State. That's one of our breakdown games here. This game was at Register Stadium in Corvallis, Oregon. Pac-12 network. Stanford comes in 3-6. Oregon comes in at 5-4. Oregon wins this. If Oregon can win this ball game, they come bowl eligible. Stanford has to win the last 3 games of their season to become bowl eligible. Stanford is nowhere but up for the offense that hit the skids over the last few games. The passing attack is bad. The running game is worse. Offensive production has dropped. We don't know what's going on with Brian Shaw's team. Stanford usually be better than this. If you're giving over 500 yards to Cal and 37 points to Colorado, there's an issue. The Oregon State defense is struggling at the wrong time. 441 yards. That's how many rushing yards that Utah just blasted away in an ugly 52-7 win over Stanford. The week before, the Washington ran for 229 yards, and that's all part of a rough allowing 200 yards rushing more. But with the win over USC and the loss to Washington State, who doesn't really run because it's too busy throwing, or Oregon State defense might be struggling, but downfield passing game is good, and the running game has been great. The Beavers lead Pac-12 in rushing offense, and they're about to tear off well over 200 yards before they get off the bus. So if Stanford can do what they did against Oregon and play that kind of game, I think they have a chance of beating Oregon State. Some people say Oregon State is going to win 26-24. They're 12 and a half favored by Oregon State. Over and under is 55 in this ball game. I'm going to go with Oregon State because they're playing at home. I don't think Stanford is good this year, so I think I think we break it down that way. So that's what we're looking at right now in this contest. Let's go ahead and I can mark that off 11 of the 19 games have been talked about here today. Taking all my notes off. At this game, the next game is the Texas Tech Oklahoma Ole Miss game here. Texas A&M over versus Ole Miss. This game is at 7 p.m. Him Wayne Stadium in Oxford, Ohio. This game will be on ESPN. Texas A&M 7-2, Ole Miss 7-2. They're all both bowl eligible. They just need to keep padding their stats here. Let's look at the standings of the. Let's look at the Big Ten standings here. I'm sorry, the SEC. Yeah, the SEC standings here. Let's go to that standing here of this conference here. I just brought it up. Texas A&M is still a game behind Alabama. They beat Alabama. And they beat Auburn, so they got a tiebreaker here. But they could beat Ole Miss. They could beat Ole Miss here. That drops Ole Miss out of the contention, really. A game behind Texas A&M. But Alabama don't play conference game this week. They play a conference game next week. Let's see what Alabama has here to just for shoots and giggles. Let's see what Alabama's schedule looks like. I know they got to go to Auburn. Okay, they play New Mexico this game. That's a win for Alabama. I don't think New Mexico State has a chance in this game. Arkansas could be a team that could give Alabama some trouble if Arkansas could pull the major upset in Denny Stadium this year in the next week at 3:30. That could be a shot that Texas A&M needs right there. But then if you look at Texas A&M and then they finish out the season with Auburn. If you look at Texas A&M schedule, if you look at Texas A&M schedule here, Texas A&M gets this win here. They go out of conference next week. They play Prairie View. They come back in the conference and they take care of these last 2 conference games. This game and the last game of the season against LSU. And if Alabama can falter at least one game, Texas A&M goes to the SEC championship game because they own the tiebreaker against Alabama. That's interesting, too. Alabama needs to win their remaining conference games. They can't falter. They falter one time, one out of the last 2 games, because they're playing out of conference this week. If Alabama can falter one of these 2 games, number 11 Texas A&M goes to the SEC championship and plays Georgia. That means Alabama is most likely out of the playoffs if they lose. If Alabama loses 1 game out of the last 2, and if Texas A&M wins all their games out of the last 2. That's interesting. That's why I think Ole Miss could be in that driver's seat to pull this out, and it'll be a lewd point. It'll be a lewd point. So that's a very high-tail offense and stuff like that here for Texas A&M. They're in a situation they can't look ahead. They got to take care of business. They got to take care of teams in front of them. They can't worry about what Alabama's doing, because they worry about what they're doing, and they get over complacent and not worry about what Ole Miss is doing to them, and what they take care of business. They got to go into Ole Miss. This game is played in Ole Miss, so they have to go down to Ole Miss here to play this game. Can Texas A&M win this game? Yes, I'm picking Texas A&M over Ole Miss in this ball game. So we have now picked 12 out of the 17 games I have breakdown here this week. Kentucky at Vanderbilt. I'm having nobody ever. I mean, this is no choosing. I think Kentucky goes into Vanderbilt, beats Vanderbilt. I mean, Vanderbilt's like a Duke team out of the ACC. They're always going to be like a high school team type deal. Arizona State at Washington. I like her Millers, but Arizona State's been a little tidbit of a mess here. Let's look at Arizona State schedule here. They're 6-5. They're already bowl eligible. Washington needs this game. It'd be 5-5, and one they need to win 2 out of the last 3 games to become bowl eligible. They're playing at Husky Stadium. Huskies are tough at home. Then Arizona will go to Oregon at Oregon State in Corvallis. I think that's going to be kind of a tough game there for them. So you have to look at that situation on that situation of that at the game and stuff. So if you look at the way this game has been played here, Oregon State in that. So I mean Arizona could, but I'm picking Arizona to beat Washington in this ball game. Air Force and Colorado State. They're playing in Colorado State. I think Air Force could beat this game. I'm taking the home team. I think Colorado will probably win this ball game. New Mexico at Fresno State. Fresno State's been struggling here lately. They've been up and out of the AP top 25. They're not in the college football playoff rankings. Since they're playing at home, they're tough at home. I think Fresno State wins this ball game. Okay, we're looking at the Virginia Notre Dame game here. This game is played at Scott Stadium in Charlottesville, Virginia. This game is on ABC. This is a 7:30 game. Notre Dame's 8-1, Virginia 6-3. This is not This is a non-conference game for Virginia. Notre Dame's offense has been able to move the ball steadily and well through the air, hitting 200 more yards in every game, and the ground attack has been along for the ride at times with a few big plays here and there. Welcome to Virginia's defense. The Cavaliers have a few weeks off, and they had needed it after allowing 734 yards against BYU, 570 yards against Georgia Tech, and getting rocked 466 yards per game overall. Notre Dame's offensive line has been a work in progress all year, but it is playing a bit better. Pass protection has been an issue, but there's no problem this week against relative abyss Virginia defensive front. Crank up the balance offense and really rely on the defense that can make big things happen behind the line, and to get out with a big statistical performance through in the potential of Virginia quarterback Brennan Armstrong being out, or at least hurting with injuries, ribs, and goes ahead and likes to average. But that's going to be a key. Virginia's playing at home to play tough at home. Notre Dame was able to get into a shootout with North Carolina and should be fine. But Virginia's offense has ability to take things up to a whole another level. Yet the Cavalier defense has taken the year off. Yes, I supplement that portion now when I read my notes and stuff and made my notes. I noticed that Virginia's defense has taken some games off in this year. Their offense is leading the nation at 545 yards per game, but not rolled out the game time decision. But the O should still be good, even if it's not quite as nasty. So we don't know this game time situation for Armstrong. His ribs are really hurting him. He's been taking some licks this year. The Irish defense has been terrific against the run most of the year. Yeah, this group is great at taking the ball away, but North Carolina was able to roll up 565 yards. USC was able to throw well, and now against a team with 2 weeks off to gear up, all back up. It's all back up, and for Virginia's faults, it was able on a 4-game winning streak before going to BYU. Something was working right. So the BYU, that was a big, massive game, a high scoring game up in BYU, 66 by BYU, 66 points against a Virginia team. If you like the Notre Dame game with North Carolina, you're going to love this one. The Irish defense is just good enough to come up with a few key plays to take away and survive. They're talking about surviving Virginia's offense and stuff like that. It's going to be a high-scoring game. They said 64.5 is over. No, I think I'll take the over in this game. Notre Dame is a 5.5 favorite. Some people are saying Notre Dame will win 45-38. I'm going to go with Notre Dame. If Brandon Armstrong is not playing, I think Notre Dame will win. I'm going to have to go with Notre Dame because I don't know what the game time decision with Brandon Armstrong here. So that's a big thing here. You know, this is going to be a big one for the ACC here. Coming up, we're going to be talking about the North Carolina State. All right, out of the 19 games, we have 13. Out of the 19 games away, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 more games to talk about here. The next game we're going to talk about will be the Wake Forest, number 16, North Carolina State versus number 12, Wake Forest. Wake Forest is coming off a loss against North Carolina. Mississippi State is coming off the win against Florida State. This game is played in Trust Field at Winston-Salem, North Carolina. This game is at 7:30. This game can be seen on the ACC network. This is the ACC network's game of the week. North Carolina State comes in at 7-2. Wake Forest coming in 8-1. If North Carolina State can win this game, they got the driver's seat in the ACC Atlantic Division. We're going to go ahead and look at North Carolina State's. We know they got to play North Carolina the rest of the way here at the last game of the season. If North Carolina State can win this game and win out without stumbling, if they can win this game way far, they'll be in control of the ACC Atlantic Division. If we look at the ACC Atlantic, the Demon Deacons are 5-0. They're 8-1 overall because you got to remember North Carolina game was not a conference game; it was a non-conference game this year. Next year will be a conference game. So Wake Forest Demon Deacons is 5-0 in conference play. North Carolina State comes in at 4-1 in conference play, 7-2 overall. So this could be interesting here. Now, Clemson still has a chance to win the Atlantic Division if North Carolina State can lose. If North Carolina State lose the last 2 out of 3, and if the Demon Deacons loses the last 3 games. So if you look at that, if you look at this, and let's go look at Wake Forest's schedule. So North Carolina, I'm gonna tell you the North Carolina game could be big for North Carolina State, because if it comes down to North Carolina in that North Carolina State game, and North Carolina wins that game against North Carolina State, we know State fans are going to say, there's no chance North Carolina can win this game. There's no chance North Carolina can beat North Carolina State this year. That's what North Carolina State fans says. No way. No way you can win this game. That's what North Carolina State fans says. I think Wake Forest will take care of North Carolina State. I believe we're going to break it down a little bit more, but I'm thinking, because since Wake Forest is playing at home, the high-power offense of Wake Forest, I don't think North Carolina State can go toe-to-toe with Wake Forest in scoring. I could be wrong, but that's just my opinion. So if you look at that, let's see what Wake Forest has to do here. Wake Forest will be in the driver's seat if they can beat North Carolina State, because there'll be a 2-game lead in the ACC. A 2-game lead in the ACC over North Carolina State and Clemson. Let's look at this. Let's take this for a scenario. They got North Carolina State. Wake Forest does. Guess who's waiting in the wings? Clemson. Then they finish it off at Boston College. Wake Forest last home game was against North Carolina State. There'll be a 2-game lead over North Carolina State and Clemson if Wake Forest can win this game. But if Wake Forest loses to Clemson, they'll be back in within 1 game. And Wake Forest loses to Boston College. But Wake Forest beats North Carolina State, and Clemson wins out. Clemson will win the Atlantic Division of the ACC. Think that for a moment. Clemson's just hanging right there. If North Carolina State can beat, if Wake Forest can beat North Carolina State, and then they get beat, and they lose to Clemson, and they lose to Boston College last game, and then if North Carolina State falls to Wake Forest and falls to North Carolina, Clemson can win the Atlantic Division. You see that scenario? See how possible that scenario is? Let's turn your attention to here. We know about North Carolina State's quarterback, O'Leary. He's one of the best quarterbacks. We know about Hartman. He's one of the best quarterbacks in the ACC. Hartman is up top notch. Armstrong's number 1. Hartman. You got Sam Howell, and I think O'Leary's underneath Sam Howell. So you got the top 3. Whatever way you wanted to do it, your opinions. Any way you want to do it, you still got the top 5 quarterbacks in the ACC right there, grouped together. It's all about stopping Wake Forest. It's about being able to come up with enough key stops to let your own offense take over. But North Carolina was able to do that late in the 58-55 window. Demon Deacons. Now, the ACC best scoring defense and the second best defense overall will be able to hold up just enough. Again, Wake Forest is going to to get his yards and points. But Wolfpacks are amazing coming up with third down stops and bringing the best run defense in the ACC. But the loss in all the high power fun from the Demon Deacons is how they can hit 200 yards on the ground if needed. That's not happening against North Carolina State. That's what they say. That's on the papers. Papers is saying one thing, but the field is saying another thing. This is not in Carter Fielding Stadium at North Carolina State University on the fairgrounds of North Carolina State. This is not in Raleigh, North Carolina. Even though the state fairgrounds are not attached to NC State campus. This is where they play their games. They don't play on the state campus. They play on the state fairgrounds in Raleigh, North Carolina. That's where Carter Fielding Stadium is located at. So if you look at that, and if you look at what we're talking about here, then you got to figure out. But today they're playing in Wake Forest. Wake Forest is good at home. They haven't lost a game at home. They're undefeated at home. If you look at the NC State Road, both teams are 5-0 at home. NC State is 2-2, 3-1 for Wake Forest on the road. Demon comes in on like 1 game losing streak. North Carolina State comes on a 2-game winning streak. In this scenario. So if you look at that, if you look at these situations we got coming here, North Carolina State, they say North Carolina State will win 41. That's some people. Wake Forest 37. Wake Forest is favored by 2 points, over and under 66.5. I'm going with the home team. I think Wake Forest will win this ball game because I think they're going to come in mad because they lost to North Carolina State. No, they lost to North Carolina last week. So that is another game that is taken away here. The next game be coming up would be number 25. Number 25, Arkansas versus LSU. Let's go take our last break here, and then we'll come back, and then we'll do a little bit of a speed round here to get the rest of this stuff up, and then we will cut here. We only got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 more games in depth that we need to talk about here. And then we'll pick a few more games here. So we got 5 more games. We got 10 more games overall to finish up here. This is the All Sports, All Place Network. I am your host, Ray Cruz. And we'll be back. This is the All Sports, All Place Network, the College Breakdown Show. Be back after these messages.
This is the Fonx D Streaming Network. Register to come on our channel at fonxdnetwork.com.
Welcome back to the All Sports, All Place Network. This is the College Breakdown Show. This is the pregame show to all college sports. Football from 9 a.m. to 10 to 12 p.m. For the kickoff time. This is a premiere show. This has been a tape show today that you've been watching. I have been out of town. I'm traveling to see my nephew play travel ball in Georgia today. So this is a pre-taped show. I hope you enjoy so far. We have gone through a lot of football games. We have 19 total games. We have covered everything. So we have covered 14 of the 19 games in depth, and we have been picking the games here today. So my co-host Dre has been out. He's on a job assignment. He has some important matters he had to take care of at his business, And Landon, who was going to be his replacement, his mother got sick, and we're keeping her in prayer. Let's just keep his family in prayer and hope for a speedy recovery for his mother. So he'll be back next week here with me, and we'll go through this together. So we're going to continue on here. We're right now at 2 hours and 34 minutes. We're less than 30 minutes away for kickoff time for the first game of kickoff at 12 o'clock noon. Let's continue on. Let's go talk about number 25, Arkansas at LSU. Let's run this game down real quick. This game is on at 7:30. Is at Tiger Stadium in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, on the SEC network. Arkansas is 6-3. Louisiana State is 4-5. If you look at this game here, if you look at it here, this is the contrast right now at this ball game here. This ball game here is the running game shall take over in a hurry. LSU run defense has been fine, but inconsistent. It dominated Alabama, allowing just 6 net yards, but it got ripped apart by Ole Miss and Kentucky, rumbling for 330 yards. The Hog offense of line has been playing well. The running game has hit 200 yards, marked in each of the last 4 games, and now is fourth. It's fourth in the nation and first in the SEC on the ground. LSU's offense hasn't been strong enough to take over. If the Hogs are controlling the clock, the Tigers' ground attack had one good game against Florida, and it's been it. Max Johnson can throw. Arkansas secondary has been hit hard. Georgia didn't have to throw because his running game was too strong, and Arkansas Pine Bluff didn't do anything again because it's Arkansas Pine Bluff. But after the good September, the Arkansas's pass defense hasn't been all that great. Mississippi State gets a free pass because all it does is throw. Ole Miss and Auburn able to bomb away for close to 300 yards each. To LSU needs Johnson to get stepped up early. Yeah, I think Max Johnson needs to do his thing. He needs to throw over 250 yards in this ballgame. 300 yards, LSU could win this ballgame if Max Johnson is getting it, because I think the running game will start producing for LSU again, like they did against Florida. LSU isn't playing all that poorly. If you look at it here, Arkansas will win 26-20. Arkansas is a 2.5 favorite. Over and under is 59. I think Tigers playing at home. I think LSU wins this ball game here. Let's look at LSU here. Let's look at this. Let's go back to the SEC standings. If you look at the Southern Eastern Conference standings, LSU is 2-4, 4-5. But like I said, LSU can win 2 of the last 3 of their games. They could become bowl eligible, and Ogeron can leave with LSU going to a bowl game. So if you look at let's look at the LSU schedule here. Let's bring up the LSU schedule and see who they got to play the last few games of their season here to bank on. If you look at it here, they play Arkansas. If they can win this game here, and then they got an out-of-conference game against Louisiana Monroe. If they can win that game, they win these 2 games right there, they're bowl eligible. But if they don't, the last game against number 11, Texas A&M, and if they become bowl eligible, that could be a hard game for them to win. But it's to be played. Their last 3 games are in LSU. It's in Tiger Stadium, so they're playing home. So if they win out, that's going to be an interesting thing too. But like I said, I have LSU winning this ball game here. So we have now picked 15 out of the 19. We got 4 more to go here. Our next game that's coming up will be on our slate here will be Kansas at Texas. Here, let's bring up some notes here for this game. if you look at it this way here, we're now down to about 20 minutes before kickoff. 20 minutes before kickoff. So we're going to try to get this thing so we won't go into overtime. The game is at 7:30. It's at Texas Memorial Stadium in Austin, Texas. ESPNU is carrying this game. Texas is 4-5. Kansas come in at 1-8. Texas needs to win out to become bowl eligible. Let's look at Texas here schedule. Let's see what they got here coming up after this ball game here. Let's look at the Longhorn schedule. Longhorns are 4-5. They can beat Kansas and they beat West Virginia. They become bowl eligible. Or if they have to go all the way if they got to win 2 out of the last 3 to become bowl eligible, they got Kansas State coming into Arlington. So they have 2 games at home and 1 game on the road, and they got to go up to the Mountaineers in West Virginia. So becoming bowl eligible, and there's no way Kansas becomes bowl eligible. Kansas played good against Oklahoma, so you can't take Kansas lightly, but Kansas is not playing at home. They're going into Texas. They're going into Austin, Texas to play at Texas Memorial Stadium. This game is going to be a contrast of can Kansas stop the Texas great running back. The defense has been lousy. The offense went in tank 30-7 to loss to Iowa State. This is what Kansas is. The Jayhawks look fantastic against Oklahoma, at least offensively, but the defense continues to be worse in the nation. And coming up with third down stops, the defense can't do anything against the run. That's something that we're going to look at for Texas. Texas has got a good running back. So if you look at this quickly, the running game is soon enough. It might not be what the team was hoping for in a month, but I think Texas will destroy Kansas because they're playing in Austin, Texas, playing at home. So some people are predicting 48-17. I have a little bit worse. I think it's going to be 50-7 myself. So I have Texas beating. Kansas. Go ahead and put my R there. Next one is TCU. TCU. This is number 16 game out of the what we have left here. Let me bring all my other notes over. All righty. So we're looking at San Diego State. I'm sorry. Which one? We're talking about Oklahoma and TCU. But Gary Patterson out at TCU. Oklahoma State versus TCU. This is at 8 o'clock at Boone Pickens Stadium in Stillwater, Oklahoma. This game will be on Fox. Oklahoma State is 8-1. They're already bowl eligible. TCU, if they win the last 2 out of 3, we'll go TCU schedule here in a minute. Jerry Kill is a head coach. Is a hell of a head coach. TCU had to try moving on after it parted ways with Gary Patterson. It has managed to come up with its most amazing win the season, 38-20, the Shocker over Baylor. So what went on, quarterback Max Duggan couldn't go, but Oklahoma transferred. Chandler Morris went off with 461 yards passing, 2 scores with Quentin Johnson and Tate Barber combining for 200 yards receiving. Oklahoma State's defense has been incredible, but the lone loss of the season came only allowing over 300 yards to Iowa State. Brock Prudy went off in a 24-21 win. TCU is going to bomb away to give it all a shot. Oklahoma State's defense is just good enough. No one's running on this group as loud as just 86 yards per game. Hasn't given up 100 yards rushing in the last 3 games. If TCU isn't throwing the ball well, the offense isn't going to move. Holding Kansas to 3 points, and one of the thing is Kansas, but stuffing West Virginia is 24-3. Victory in Morgantown is another. TCU might have bombed away on Baylor, but it doesn't have the steady attack to keep steady pushing. So this could be the end of TCU's run right here. I don't think we don't need to get into TCU's schedule because I don't have TCU winning this ball game. I have Oklahoma State winning this one in Stillwater. All righty. So we talked about Arkansas, LSU. So we got 2 of the 19 games still left to talk about here in this state here. We're almost fit. We're about 15 minutes away to kickoff time. 15 minutes away to kickoff time. Colorado at UCLA. I think Chip Kelly will win this ball game. I think they're doing a pretty good job here. I have UCLA winning this ball game. We have Oregon. This game is at 10:30 Eastern Time. Autzen Stadium in Eugene, Oregon. Game can be watched on ESPN. Oregon comes in 8-1. Washington State comes in 5-4. Washington State needs to win one of the last 3 games to become bowl eligible. I don't think they're going to get this game here. What's going on right under the interim head coach Jake Dickey? The defense has been solid against the run, but it is only allowing more than 400 yards overall in 2 of the last 6 games. It is doing a phenomenal job of controlling the clock all on the offense, taking the ball away on the other side. It's not about the firepower with Wazoo as much as it's about tempo. The only other game to speak of, but the shortage to mid-range pass game is clicking. The D has taken the ball away multiple times in every game but 2. The 5 takeaways against Arizona State 2 weeks ago were a big deal. So Oregon is not an airtight with the ball. Anthony Brown is likely good for 1 puzzling interception, but it's not giving the ball away enough times to matter. There were a few issues against Cal and UCLA, but those 2 games, the Ducks turned the ball over just 4 times in the other 7 games. Offensively, Travis Day keeping everything going. Washington State has allowed 200 yards rushing for 4 times this year on the year and lost 3 of them. Dye carries the Ducks against Washington with 211 yards. He ran for 4 touchdowns against UCLA, and he needs to be a steady force against this Wazoo team. To me, I think Oregon is a little bit better than Wazoo, is way better than Wazoo. I mean to beat Ohio State and Columbus. So I think this is going to be a Pac-12 game. I think Oregon Ducks will go ahead and take this one at ranked number 3 and keep them in the playoff thing. Let's look at Oregon real quick here. We got 13 minutes before kickoff. 13 minutes before kickoff. And we got one more in-depth game, and then we got a couple more games, and then we'll send you on your way to your first game. So we got the Oregon's. They got Washington State in Eugene. They got to go to Utah. That's the key, Utah. But the game is played in Utah next weekend, and then they got the battle against Oregon State at Eugene. So yeah, let's look at the standings for the Pac-12 here. Let's go up to the Pac-12 and see where they stand at here, and see what Oregon needs to do to clinch their division here. Oregon Ducks is 5-1, 4-2. They beat the Cougars. They clinched they will clinch their if they win tonight, if they win tonight, they will clinch the north of the Pac-12. And then Utah will have to remain at their season to finish out on top of the South, and then they'll play again for the Pac-12 conference title. And then probably the winner of that game if Oregon wins that, keep winning out, they'll be in the college playoffs. So that's where we're looking there. So we're going to get right into it here. Our last game that we're going to be in depth calling is number 22 San Diego State at Nevada will go into San Diego State to play this game. This game is at 10:30 Eastern Time at the Health Sports Pavilion in Carson, California. CBS Sports Network. San Diego State is 8-1, and Nevada 7-2. Can the passing game would do enough against San Diego State out of his warm, cozy comfort zone? This isn't an Aztec team that can bomb away or get into any semi-balance of shootout, but it's not going to kill themselves on defense. Utah wasn't the Utah it's not now when the Aztec got the shocking win against back in mid September, but Fresno State has only offense with the high power passing game, and Jake Henner company pulled off the 30-20 win with 247 yards passing. Here comes Carson Strong and Nevada's offense that bombs away for over 300 yards. I think San Diego State will go into Nevada. I think Nevada will come into San Diego State, and I think San Diego State will win this ball game on because they're playing at home, and I don't think Nevada does pretty good. It's not pretty good road team. So we have now finished out calling all the deep 19 games has been indefinitely talked about that I had picked. We have one more game here. We got 10 minutes. We're 10 minutes away from kickoff. We're not going into overtime. Like I said, the USC at California game has been postponed. Let's see if I can find the reason why that game is postponed. USC versus. The Cal player is frustrated after the game. USC is postponed because of coronavirus outbreak, COVID-19 outbreak at USC. So they suspended that game. USC Trojan versus Cal postponed, rescheduled for December 4th. It will play on December 4th. So December 4th, we'll have that game. So USC versus California on December 4th. We have 9 minutes before kickoff. 9 minutes before kickoff, we have one more game. Utah State at San Jose State. This is 10:30 FS1. I think Utah State will go in San Jose State and win that game. I have marked I have certified my picks. I will tell you how good I do. I'll show you my stat and stuff. So that's what we have it here. We have 8 minutes before kickoff. I'm going to go through some scenarios here for let's go here. Let's talk about some of these conference standings here. Who went out and stuff like that. The Bearcats are 5-0. The Cougars are the Bearcats are 6-0 and the Cougars are 6-0. If Cincinnati can win out and if Houston stumbles there, Cincinnati will win the conference, but right now Cincinnati is 10-0, Houston's 8-1 overall, 6-0 in conference play. Let's see here. Let's look at Cincinnati's schedule here. Let's see if I can find their schedule. There we go. Bearcat schedule. This Bearcat schedule here. They will play SMU and East Carolina in the next 2 games here. They did beat South Carolina on Friday night. So there you go. You got that schedule and stuff like that coming in. So if you look at it here and some of the time to beat here and some of the things here, let's look at this. Let's go to the college football schedule again. Here we go. We're gonna go to the schedule here. Okay, on the Friday night matchup, number 5 Cincinnati did beat South Florida 45-28. Wyoming at Boise State. Boise State won 23-13. D. Ryder 304 yards for Cincinnati. Rushing leader was Montgomery, 72. Receiving yards with John Horn Jr. with 108. For the Boise State game, H. Bagmeyer, 225. Holion, 102. And New York, 126 receiving. That was the Friday score. We're now less than five. We're about 5 minutes away from kickoff time here on the college sports. We're kicking you all the way at the kickoff. Like I said, let's look at some of the standings here. We talked about the ACC. If Wake Forest can win out, they win the ACC Atlantic. If Pitt can win out, they win the Coastal. Then it'll be Warriors versus Pitt in the ACC finals. The Big 12, Oklahoma's got a 1-game lead. That Stillwater game is going to probably be it's going to come down to part of that Stillwater game. Oklahoma State versus Oklahoma to decide who wins the Big 12. The Big 12 conference, the Big 10 conference, Ohio State's has still got a game lead over the Spartans, but they still play this. They have to play each other, and then Michigan also have to play if the Spartans can lose another game, and if Michigan can beat Ohio State, if Ohio State wins out to that Michigan game, Michigan wins out to their game. If Michigan can beat Ohio State for the first time under Jim Harbaugh, Michigan could. If Michigan State does lose one more game, Michigan could win the Big Ten East conference, the Big Ten East over Ohio State if they can beat them in the last game of the season. Like I said, Wisconsin is 4-2. Minnesota Gophers 4-2. If Wisconsin can win out and Minnesota loses one more game, if Purdue can win out and beat Wisconsin and Wisconsin lose one more and Minnesota lose and they can beat Minnesota. But Purdue could win the Big Ten West, so that's still up in the air. The Herd and the Hilltoppers are still up in the air right now. 4-1 in the Conference USA East. UTSA Roadrunners are 5-0. UAB Blazers are 4-1. If UTSA can win out, then they win the West, and they'll play the Herd for the title for Conference USA. Independent, and they really don't have a conference for independence thing right there. Mid-American Conference still up at the air for Ohio State and Red Hawks and Kansas State and Golden Flash at 4-2 in the East. And if Northern Illinois Huskies can win out, they win the West. And they'll play either Miami, Ohio, or Kent State. Mountain West, Utah State is winning is a 1 game ahead of Boise State. If Utah State can win out, then they win the Mountain West Division and the West Division of that. Aztecs can beat Nevada this week, and they have the stronghold in the Mountain West Conference. And then they could hit to the championship game. Like I said, if Oregon wins out, then they will win out. They'll win the Pac-12 North and the Pac-12 South. If Utah can win out, but that's not going to be the problem because they have to play each other. So that's going to be a serious question. We know Georgia's already clinched the Southeast East division. If Alabama can lose one more game and the Aggies can win out, then you're looking at the driver's seat for the SEC West, and you could go and play Georgia in the SEC championship game. And then we got less than 2 minutes away for kickoff time. Appalachian State wins out. They win the Coastal. They win the Sun Belt Conference East. And if Louisiana Raging Cajuns can close out their season, they can win the West, and they play each other for the Sun Belt Championship. We're a minute away from that. So that's a scenario of some of the major conference in college football here. So we're finishing up some information here. We're finishing up some details here. Taking you all the way at the kickoff time. Thanks for joining us. Like I said, this is a pre-taped show. I did give you the Friday night scores at the tail end here. This is a pre-taped show. I'm out of town with family members. So this has been the All Sports, All Place Network, the College Breakdown Show. I am Ray Cruz, and everyone have a good night or a good day. I'm gonna take you all the way to kickoff. I got 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1, and kickoff.
All sports, all plays. All sports, all plays. All sports, all plays. 365, we making up plays. You talking the game, get you through the days. We're high in the court, the dime in the lane. Variety, topics, living the same. All presentation, sports information. In the airways, taking the nation. All sport, all plays, like working your faces. Grace at the field, so tie the laces. All sports, all plays.